welcome to the GCW Plant Podcast, episode 15. Once again with us, Mr. John J. Wolf. How are you doing tonight, John?
I'm feeling great. I'm looking forward to another great episode, man.
Yes, and we got a pretty fun one today. We're going to learn about a lot of new names, and hopefully they'll start becoming some GCW regulars as well, because they all did a pretty good performance on GCW Sanctified from Concord, North Carolina. And we have a little different commentary team tonight. We had Brett Lauderdale kind of started off at the beginning with Dave Prazak, and we have the John Mosley. I believe they call him Mose online. And later on, we have Nick Gage. And I was kind of disappointed. It was kind of noticeable. I didn't notice it right away because it was mostly someone else talking right away. And we'll get into that when we start the show. But not hearing KG's voice for an entire show was kind of odd and different. What did you think about that, John?
Anytime there's no KG, it hurts. I'm really a big fan of KG. I really love the intro to this. I'm just going to go right into it because I thought it was fantastic. So first of all, it was the Charlotte debut for GCW. So right off the bat, we're looking at the first time there. So the fans are very receptive. We go with the old school intro. To me, it's almost like a 90s intro. Show pops open and starts with a shot of George South. He cuts an old school promo letting us know he's in GCW and, quote, you don't know what's going on. He says, quote, you don't know what's going to be going on in that ring tonight. Buckle up, folks. Yeah, the legend's here. I thought it was a fantastic opening. I was really hyped for that. It was just a great way to start. It cut right to black. Boom. Emil. I'm in North Carolina.
Yes.
It was just beautiful. Music hits. Out comes Nick Gage. Nick Gage comes to the ring. He's getting love from the crowd. He says, give me that shit, Emil. Crowd starts fucking cheering. Emil hits that famous MDK intro. I love hearing that crowd reciting the intro. I love it.
Do that. Even when I'm watching it, I still do the same thing. I'm reciting it right there with them.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm like a 6-year-old kid. I'm like, and so MDK basically gets on the mic. He says, GCW run Charlotte, which the crowd popped for. And then the microphone cuts. And the crowd starts chanting, you fucked up. So basically they try to get him a new mic. And I normally wouldn't put something like that in here, but he actually tells one of the crew sound guy, he was lucky he didn't come down and give him the mic himself. I'm guessing, obviously, because he was going to tear into him. But Gage gets on the mic and says it's comeback season. So to me, as an old school fan with the promo and then the cut and then straight into the show, and then here comes the star and he comes out and the fucking crowd is hype. All of that right there is exactly the way I like to start my wrestling events. I swear I probably grew up with it, but it's very 90s to me, and I really loved it. And then seeing George South, I'm an NWA WCW fan from way back in the day, and it was really nice to see the dirty fucking South, really, I mean, no better way to put it, but the dirty South still fucking alive, and really, we'll talk about it further, but it was a great opening for me. I mean, that's just the intro.
Yeah, I liked how, you said, the starts off with the video. They've done a couple shows like that, but not in a long time. I mean, like a very long time since we've seen like a kind of, well, I guess not very long time, but it's been a while since we've seen the opener, like how it starts off with the video, kind of like getting the crowd hyped for us watching on TV, because obviously I'm going to assume the people in Charlotte couldn't see that video. But it was kind of cool with us, like how they open it up, and then right away, as you said, we get the normal MLJ, I'm in North Carolina, and I loved it. And Nick coming out, that was pretty funny. I love, even I've said it before, even if he just comes out, gets his pop, and does a commentary in a couple matches, I'm in. But Gage said it is comeback season, which now is going to make me kind of believe him more now during this match, where maybe he is finally fully healthy and he did take that time off. So maybe he will start wrestling GCW, maybe not on a full-time every single show basis, but at least we'll get him in action hopefully a couple times a month if he defeats Jon Moxley. But I am way more excited now than what I was when we were talking about Homecoming Night with Nick Gage and him going for the title. I thought this was it got me back into possibly rooting for him against Jon Moxley to bring that belt back home, as he says. But I still kind of on the fence, 50-50 on who's going to win that match. But he looks incredible and way better shape than every time we've seen him, he looks in better and better shape. So I hope it is comeback season for him. I hope he does come back not full time, but more often, and starts getting in the ring and starts fucking wrestlers up, as he likes to say. But I did like kind of like how they opened it too, since it's been a while since we've seen one of those openings. And then it leads us right into the first match of the night, as we have on Andrew Everett going up against Kevin Blackwood. And it's been a couple months since I've seen Andrew Everett in a GCW ring, so I was kind of excited to see him back in. And then we got Blackwood again, coming off of his pretty good matches that he had at Homecoming. I was looking forward to it because I like Andrew Everett, and I was kind of hoping this would be a nice comeback match for Kevin Blackwood, because we know we said the last matches were kind of lukewarm, but not too bad, and this one was definitely more of a Kevin Blackwood that we've seen and we're used to. What were your thoughts on this match, John?
Well, I really liked how Andrew got that warm reception. Of course, 7'4". He's so tall. Everett sticks to that giant gimmick the whole time. He was getting "he's a giant" chants. Okay, personally, I know that I've seen him a little bit on Twitter, and I'm sure that I've seen him once or twice on other wrestling shows, but this was the first time where I was really paying attention, because this is, GCW here now. So I noticed that Kevin got an equal reception, and that tells me a lot, because Kevin is generally held in high regards with the crowd in GCW. So he had great athleticism, Everett did. His flipping ability was incorporated really well. He was a solid performer. And for me, that flipping ability was just, excuse me, I would say incorporated 3 to 4 times more sometimes than the average person would be flipping. So that was obviously one of his fortes, and he put it in there really well. Everett had a jumping springboard twisting press off the top rope. I can't really describe it anything more than that, and I said it slowly so that someone could try to understand it. But solid impacts. It was a brawling match. Everett was selling a choke slam that happened quite a while towards the end of the match there. I noticed that Blackwood did a lot of reverses. He was getting cheers on those. But my thoughts were overall that this was the first time in a while that I really sat down and paid attention to Kevin Blackwood. And I'll talk a little bit more later as we get to the finish on this one. But it was really enjoyable. It was a great little opener. It was unexpected from both men.
Yeah, it was very impressive seeing a 7'4" man doing all those flips and moves off the top rope. And of course, we are just joking. Those of you that maybe might be listening and haven't seen Andrew Everett, he's not really 7'4". He kind of plays up to the gimmick and stuff like that. But no, yeah, I thought this was different from the Ninja Mac match that Kevin Blackwood had, because this was more fast-paced, non-stop go, where, as we were kind of talking about the Ninja Mac one, it was a lot of slow down and methodical match, where this one kind of lived up to the GCW pace of being more of a especially to start off a night, we got to start off the crowd hot and get the crowd hot. So I like the pacing of the match, and I think that helped tremendously, where, like, as we were kind of talking about with Blackwood, it's the last couple ones have been like lukewarm, but this one was awesome. Like I said, I was glad to see the old Kevin Blackwood back with his striking, his counters, and Andrew Everett definitely mixed well with Kevin Blackwood for this match, and it was a good start. At first, I was like, okay, after the first couple matches we've seen lately with Blackwood, I was kind of interested to see how this would go, and they both delivered, and hopefully we will see the 7'4" Andrew Everett back in a GCW ring here soon, because I think I've seen him before in like scramble matches and stuff, but not really on a one-on-one off the top of my head. But he definitely looked good in the singles competition, and I think Blackwood was a good opponent to kind of control the match, kind of keep the pacing on it, keep everything going and making it sense. And it was good. It was a very good match, and Andrew Everett does pick up the win, surprisingly in my eyes, as he hit Kevin Blackwood with the shooting star press.
They work so well together, man. Yeah. They work so well together. And I don't know how many times they've met before, but this was just absolutely wonderful to watch. So I said I was going to get a little further into Blackwood, so I'm going to kind of do that now here, and I'm going to kind of run off my old notes that I have. I put that Blackwood isn't a top rope guy. So, okay, so let me explain that for me, I wasn't really a Blackwood person because I hadn't had a chance to sit down and really take him in. But he's not a top rope guy. Once you understand who and what he is about, though, you'll know a little more of what to expect. So basically, his style is different than the classic GCW style that we're used to. Between size and ability, I believe that he would have fit well probably with somebody like a Dean Malenko,
Yeah,
both as an opponent. Yeah, as an opponent and as a trainer, I think that he would have worked really well. Malenko had a style to him that was just fantastic. He had a strong style to him, without with a lack of a better word. He had a bunch of holds to him. These are all things that Blackwood really stated by himself that he really prides himself on. So I really do think also that Blackwood's really a complimentary wrestler in a sense that he allows breathing room for his opponent to shine. And I didn't get him before, and I really do now.
Yeah, I think going back to how you said, it gives his opponent room to shine. I 1,000% agree with you, but I think that's where in the Ninja Mac match, where they kind of, instead of shining in the Ninja Mac kind of way as he normally does, high flying, going all the crazy stuff that kind of Andrew Everett did, Ninja Mac, as we kind of noted that weekend against Jordan and Kevin Blackwood, it seemed like Ninja Mac wanted to stay on the ground, stay grounded, show off his technical skills. So I think that was the difference between that match with Ninja Mac and this match with Andrew Everett, where Everett used that time to shine and got all his shit in that he normally always does. And it's something that we expect from Andrew Everett if we watched him before. Where Ninja Mac, he kind of went off script of his normal style of wrestling and went technical. So I thought this, as you said, the complimentary style right there, that was absolutely perfect wording. And I'm glad you get Kevin Blackwood now, because I'm the same way. Like, I felt the same way about him. Like, he's good, solid, and he's just different than the kind of style that I like to wrestle. Doesn't mean he's bad. It just, this was one of his better matches, though, because everything flowed perfectly. And I think the amount of time that they got, it was like 11-minute match, was perfect, where they didn't go overboard, where they had to draw stuff out and get the crowd kind of out of it with the rest holds and stuff like that. This was just a high flying, fast paced match, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, so you made an interesting statement there where you're talking about how this match here was actually faster than Ninja's match. I didn't think about that, but you're 100% right. So no lie, I'm going to tell everybody, because we're kind of broadcasting about this and I wanted to mention it, but when it comes to Kevin Blackwood, I was explaining to you that I think he's absolutely talented. I watch everything he does in the ring. It's very crisp. It's strong. It's good. What he does pride himself on, the strikes and the holds, reversals, he does really, really, really well. And for a while there, I was not really understanding much about him. I just thought, well, he's just, I don't know. I just wasn't connecting with the character. Everything else about him, from just being a person to his ability to everything else he presents to me, was absolutely wonderful. It's just for some reason I wasn't connecting with his character. So that's why I kind of wrote up that little thing earlier, was because I asked you and you gave me your opinion on him, and that gave me, I basically said, look, I don't get him, and I want to make sure I kind of get this right. So this was the first time I sat down and was really analyzing everything. So I have a much better respect for Kevin than I did beforehand. And I would definitely say that now that I know what to expect, I'm going to be looking forward to watching him now. I'd like to see him with Deppen. I'd like to see him go up against Deppen, just two technical guys go at it. Wow, if those two could go on the same team, I think that would raise the stock a little bit of Kevin. And I don't know if he does need paired up. I just see him against Deppen as being one hell of a match if they gave him, breath, maybe a 15-minute, But there's different kinds of opening matches. And this was the one that was atypical from GCW. Usually we start differently. There's usually one of two different ways we'll start. This one here was more of the feel-good hometown guy struggles, and he looks strong and wins, and the crowd just loves that. Again, that's like a feel-good thing. So everybody's there cheering for the guy, and that kind of taps into the pride of the area, and I think that was really well done. Again, just like you, I would have to say Andrew Everett wins this was a surprise. But it was a beautiful shooting star press, and it was a really good, entertaining match overall. If he shows up again, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's all about pacing. Between that and the Ninja Mac, the pacing was different. Even though still got high flying, flippy guys as Andrew Everett is and Ninja Mac is. I think just the pacing, and Andrew Everett used his high flying ability where Ninja Mac didn't. I think that was affected me where I really liked this match. And I was kind of, as you said, like, I wasn't blown away by the Ninja Mac Blackwood. It was it told its story. It was a good match, but nothing really made me jump out of my seat where Andrew Everett and Kevin Blackwood definitely killed it this time. So I definitely want to see both of them again. And Kevin Blackwood just keep on. I think he's lost his last few matches in GCW, if I remember. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, just thinking about it. But I was shocked. Andrew ever getting the win over Kevin Blackwood was kind of shocking to me. But good for him. Good for Blackwood. A good solid match. A good way to start the night. Now our next match of the evening is a tag team match of the Los Macizos, Ciclope and Medio Extremo, going against Charlie Evans and Everett Connors. And this was kind of playing off of the homecoming weekend with the Charlie Everett stuff. I was interested because I think in this match, Everett Connors is kind of the odd man out in this match, where I was kind of interested to see how he would make an impact and still kind of get his shit in and get over himself, or how much he would kind of step out of his normal lane and dive into the violence and everything. So this was an interesting match on paper for me going in. Of course, I was excited. I'm a huge fan of all four, and it actually did play out way better than I thought it was going to. So, to my surprise, and thank goodness it did, because, like I said, I was kind of interested in how Everett would mesh with the other ones. What were your thoughts on this match?
So before this match even kicked off, the first note I had written down here was, "Here comes the violence." I knew it. And that's why I also wanted to say that I wanted you to talk first about this match, because if there was anybody that was going to know more about Charlie Evans and Everett Connors, but also Los Macizos, you happen to know a hell of a lot more than I do. So what's kind of nice about this is when it comes to Evans and Connors, I mean, I've probably seen them of a total less than 8 to 10 times. So I'm still trying to really get a real understanding of who they are. And you've really helped me with that a lot, because I was trying to figure out a little more about Connors. Charlie, I kind of figured it out right off the bat. Right after I watched a hardcore match, I went, oh, okay, I see where she could easily fit in. And then I started to see some of the personality develop with her there, and I saw that. Everett, we're going to talk about a little later, especially in this match, though, I will say a hell of a lot of spots. He was in and out of the ring a lot.
Yes.
And I mean, I wrote down here somewhere, let me see if I have it, that Charlie took in this match some serious damage. I put overall that she got 80% of the team damage. She took that much. And I would say she was probably 70% of the offense. But I would say also, though, that Connors probably had most of the high spots, if not 80-90% of the high spots. So I'll give him that much. Yeah, for him, it wasn't a lot of wrestling. It seems like the secret to him in this match was just spot, and he needed that time to breathe. So no shit, Charlie actually held her own against both of those men. No shit, that was great. I was really surprised, knowing how entrances are, that Los Macizos came out first, given that they should be the most over, given that they're also the veterans. But yeah, they came out first. Everett came out in his dirt bike gear.
Yep.
And I always think it's funny because he looks like a rider. He looks exactly like every dirt bike rider I've ever seen. So, do you have anything? Yeah.
That's one of my favorite outfits when he comes out, and when he comes out in that outfit, I really like that. And I kind of I wish he would kind of mix in that outfit with his stuffed animal pants or overalls that he sometimes brings out as well. So, but like seeing Everett Connors come out that way, it's like, that was like one of the, since homecoming, I was like, whoa, this is the Everett Connors I know. This is who I kind of started really liking and stuff like that. And I was, like I said, I was still wondering how he's going to be the fourth wheel. And as you explained it, Charlie Evans kind of did most of the work, which is fine. I think Everett Connors is still trying to find his footing teaming with Charlie, as kind of Charlie's is more over and is kind of the better wrestler overall, I think, especially when it goes to these more extreme deathmatch kind of styles, definitely, for sure. So you said it really good too. I like how he kind of picked his spots of when to get his stuff in, when it's his time to shine. He finds that little spot where he gets like 2 minutes of just nonstop action, then lets Charlie take over. Then he finds another 2 minutes where he comes in and does some crazy shit, does some crazy spots, and then lets Charlie kind of take over again. I kind of like how they go back and forth with it. I would still like to see Everett Connors do a little bit more to help Charlie out, but overall, they play it well off a tag team. I know we talked about last time where like Charlie Evans is constantly, no matter who the opponent is, just getting the shit beat out of her, and Everett Connors just kind of stands her up to the side. I'd like to see him more like, hey, stand up, like how Jordan does with Nick Wayne. Like, no, like that's my brother. You ain't touching him. You gotta go through me first. I would like to see Connors start throwing himself out, taking a bullet for his. I don't know if they're married or not now. I can't remember, but I would like to see him take some more bullets for Charlie Evans instead of coming in after all the damage is done and kind of playing the hero then.
Yeah, so one of my notes also here noted that he primarily came into the ring in the last 3 quarters of the match, and that's where he was taking most of his damage. In the first, I would say 8 minutes of this match, it started with he was thrown over the Los Mestizo's head and into the second row. I mean, before this, yeah, that was absolutely the first one. And then, I mean, he sat there for probably a minute after that. And of course, then here comes the next spot, let's just say minute 2 and 3, and then he's down for another minute again. So that was kind of the offense from Everett for the first roughly 8 minutes. The other thing I wanted to mention now, because I wanted to admit to it, I think as full-grown men, I need to admit to it at least, the cow clothes are growing on me. I'm really loving the Los Macizos cow clothes. My wife mentioned it first, so.
You want more of it. No, okay. I'll see myself out.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it was really cool because we actually got to get the tables chant in GCW, and out came tables, not doors, yep. Tables. So, you know, the other thing I wanted to mention here for sure was that I was watching in this match when Charlie was taking most of the damage there, that I have gained a lot more respect on how careful Los Macizos was protecting their opponents. No shit, for who they are. You know, one of the cardinal rules is to protect their opponents. And I was going to say 100%. They did one hell of a job making sure they protected their opponents tonight.
Yeah, and I wanted to piggyback off that because that was like really the only note I took of this one was they took care of Charlie. Like, as we said before, like the last weekend at Homecoming Weekend, Charlie was Mason just beat the shit out of her like stiff. Like, it wasn't like, as you said, it wasn't a careful forearm. It wasn't like, no, I'm just swinging as hard as I can. I'm doing as much damage to you. And every time Charlie Evans is in the ring, it seems like they kind of go out of the way, as we kind of talk about the toughness of Ali, where it's like, no, we're not holding back. You're in here with us. Like, this is going to only make you better, and the fans love you more. So we're going to beat the shit out of you. Where sometimes seeing that with me, I do become a little like squeamish, or like I don't want to see that. Where that was one of the first, the only, like I said, the only note I wrote was like, I loved how Los Macizos made it, didn't like really go out of their way. It didn't look where like really that noticeable, but for as much damage as I've seen her, you could tell like, hey, I'm still going to get you, but I'm going to go 75% instead of 150% as she was getting from Charles Mason. And I forgot right off the top of my head who else she was wrestling at Homecoming, but I loved how they took care of her. And that's what as you said, you found more respect for Los Macizos. That's the same way that made me like, this is why I like these guys. Like, hey, yeah, we are dangerous. When it's time to get dangerous and crazy, we will do that. But hey, this isn't one of these crazy shows. This is not a tag title match. This is a normal, like kind of a run of the mill GCW show where, hey, let's do our fun stuff. Let's have fun and go a little crazy, but we don't have to kill each other. And I just loved how they could kind of turn it on and off in that situation.
Yeah, you know, and even when they were hitting chair shots, those stiff chair shots on Charlie, those things were hitting just at the right spot. Los Macizos has a swinging drop kick. I don't have another way to put it. That was just fucking sweet.
Cesaro Tyson Kidd move. I love that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I was gonna say, let's hope that's important enough to have a name because oh my goodness, I hope that one stays in their repertoire. Charlie was hit with a top rope superplex onto 4 chairs. And everybody took damage in it, but that was a hell of a spot. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Another door came out, and here was this, you know, the last quarter of the match. You know, door comes out. Everett hit a second rope cutter onto Miedo, and then there was another spot here for Everett where he took Miedo to the outside of the ring. And then just a great table spot, just boom. And another one that was just wonderful. So really, I mean, in this situation, like I said, Everett's a spot guy, not a technical guy. I get him now. He came in, he really delivered towards the end. That's exactly what he was there for. He delivered on that. I'm scared to see what a match with 6 Everett Connors would look like in a scramble, because it would be absolutely damaging. But the last thing I wanted to mention on this match that I'd written down, and this was my last note on this match, was that this was definitely a hardcore match. There was no blood, and they didn't need to have any. I wrote here that they did absolutely enough without needing blood.
Yeah, I was the same way. Like, that's where I kind of loved that when they had their match with Jordan and Nick Wayne, where it was way more technical than this one, obviously, but they still introduced the fuckery with the doors and the chairs and stuff like that. But like I said, I was saying the last statement, like, they do a really good job of like knowing when to go overboard and get the crowd going and do some crazy shit. And they know when it's like, hey, let's we can have fun, we can do crazy doors, but we don't got to be killing ourselves out here right now. I just love how they turn it on and turn it off. And as you said, Everett Connors, like, I've seen him in a match with Danhausen on Wrestling Revolver, and it was actually, I was wondering how that match would go. If that I was going to that match, this is going to be a comedy spot. Like, the whole match was going to be a comedy match, and it actually turned out to be a pretty decent match. And that was I think the most I've ever seen Everett Connors like actually wrestle, because there was one-on-one. Like, he couldn't rely on Charlie to do it. And I want to see more of that side of Everett Connors, where he is could be more dominant in the ring and not rely on Charlie some more. I want to see him kind of take control and start, like, showing off what he really can do in the ring. Because like I said, that match with Danhausen, and I think he wrestled another time too, I forgot against who on Wrestling Revolver as well. But like, Connor can go. He does still need to be probably led in the ring, I think, still too. But I still think, like, for me, I like his character, and we didn't see too much of the charisma in these last couple shows as well from Everett, which was kind of disappointing. But this was more of a, hey, this is the Everett Connors that I know, and I love seeing it, and I just want to see him just be a little bit more aggressive. But we going back to the ending of this match, Los Macizos do pick up the victory as they tap out Charlie Evans to capture the W. And once again, why has it got to be Charlie? Where's Everett at here? Like, Everett, you got to step it up, man. Come on, protect your girl. But nice, fun match, like you said. Like, we got a lot of cool spots, a lot of everything, and no one went crazy. No one got hurt, which is a good, nice, fun match, and loved seeing that as the second match of the evening. And going into the third match of the evening, we have, I don't know if he's all heart, grave heart, no heart. I don't know what heart he is right now, but we have Blake Christian going one-on-one against a Joe Lando, who's returning once again to GCW. This time he's still a little bit injured. He's still kind of playing off the ankle injury, which kind of cost him night 2 of Homecoming. But he was well enough to kind of show off more of what he kind of showed off on Homecoming night 1 during that scramble, which I was very glad to see, because I wanted to see more of them after seeing them in that scramble. And I think a perfect opponent to show off what you can do in the ring is Blake Christian. And Blake Christian came out. Wasn't near the boos that he got in Atlantic City, but it was still noticeable, but not as noticeable, which is a good sign. As we were talking about, we were wondering how this was going to be playing into his future GCW shows, future wherever he signed to shows. And I think this was a good sign where, hey, it was just the one rowdy crowd that really dislikes you. It didn't take over and possibly ruin your reactions in the future. So I was kind of glad to see Blake a little bit more happy that he didn't get all those boos either. What was your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so right off the bat, my curiosity was going to be how that crowd was going to treat Blake. It almost overshadowed the match analysis that I had going on, because I was so listening to the crowd reaction. From what I was seeing, Blake was getting maybe 5 to 10% boost. He got a streamer when he came out. So I would say you had that little batch that always thinks what's going on is cool. So they were probably just, because I'm clueless again as to what the hell the reason is. And I'm sure most of these people are too. So somebody must have thought it was still cool and do it. Again, I'm really hoping that we get back to all heart. They had all heart in this one. And I was really, really happy to see that back. We had somebody yelling out, "Blake's my hero." And then we had a dueling "shut the fuck up" chant. We had an all heart all heart. And then you start hearing all heart sucks,
Yep.
all heart. So those chants are going out there. Everybody was really enjoying themselves. Yeah, it was definitely pro Blake. It wasn't even close. There was no 50-50 in this. I was noticing that Lando was nursing a slight injury. It was a noticeable limp, and he still put on one hell of a match.
Yes.
I mean, really, I don't know how bad that injury is, but he did a fairly good job hiding it within his moveset.
Yeah, Joe Lando, like I said, I wanted him to see more of him, and since we kind of missed out on night 2, I thought this was a good kind of perfect opponent for him to kind of, all right, go out there, show us what you could do, kid, kind of thing. And he definitely did step up, even with that injury, as you said. He still did pretty good. Where you could definitely tell he was still injured, but seeing him still do some of the crazy stuff that Joe Lando does was pretty impressive, especially on one ankle. I just liked how Blake too went into the crowd before he even got into the ring, is like giving the love to the crowd, like, "Oh, thank you guys for not booing me like AC. I appreciate it." And that's what I kind of thought Blake should have done, was just own it at that point in Homecoming. But luckily, it's not affecting his future. This matchup was very, very fun. This is why I like Blake Christian, because he is so good in the ring. Doesn't matter the opponent, he kills it every single match. He's one of these ones too where, like, I don't think I've seen him have a bad match. And even going against the Joe Lando, I thought the styles was a perfect match for each other as well. And Joe Lando was a little bit shorter, so that helped Blake show off some more of his strength moves and more of his more powerful moves as well. And like I said, just seeing Joe Lando in the ring, I was impressed. I do want to see more of him. This was good, very fast-paced match. I loved it.
Okay, so this was really as fast-paced as expected. A lot of chain wrestling. It didn't disappoint. Both are really telling a great story. I put that note down here about halfway through. So, I mean, it was there. As I was starting to watch Joe do his job, I'm like, oh my gosh, what would this guy be like with, a fully healed body? If we were to see him more, I'm not going to complain. I would say, since we're missing Ninja Mac as a regular, that he would be a great replacement for Ninja Mac as a faster performer with abilities. I would like to see Lando versus Ninja. One time. I want to see Lando versus Commander, and then since I mentioned both, I'd like to see Ninja versus Commander. Maybe on the big stage would be just beautiful. There was a rare move that Blake pulled off. He dove through the bottom rope and hit Lando with a strong shoulder. It was like a shoulder tackle. I'm just telling you, that's a rare one. I haven't seen that one in a very long time, so I just wanted to write that down. So now the other thing I just wanted to mention, which I think was the last thing here, was that we were trying to gauge, or I was trying to gauge, how well received Blake was going to be. This was a situation right here that if Blake was going to get booed and they were really on the fence, it was going to happen here. And the reason why I say that is because Joe Lando has incredible likability. It makes it hard not to boo Blake in this situation. And somehow this still all worked out just perfect. The one thing I would say about Lando, and I mean, I really wouldn't have anything bad to say, but the one thing I did notice in this match was that he's not a very vocal performer. So I would say that if he was just a little louder with yelling, or if he just would be a little more interactive in some small way, I think that he would be over even further. I'm just waiting for his personality to come out, because he's proven himself in every other way to me, and it only took 2-3 matches.
Yeah, going back to that dive you said Blake does. I remember I was in a Twitter space, and we were like, it was kind of like an argument of how people kind of hate the suicide dives or the tope, all those moves now, because it's all just a flying push. Like, where I wouldn't even say MLJ was in there. I'm not 1000% sure, but right now, as I was talking about it, I just see hear Emel's voice talking, like how he wants to see when people do that move of, hey, we're not out here just to push you away and push you into the chairs. Like, no, make some impact with it. And he, like, this was exactly what Emil, like, or whoever was saying it, I think it was Emil, Blake, this is what that person wants, is when you do those suicide dives, or when you go flying out of the ring, we're not pushing, like, make some contact, make it worthwhile, make it look realistic instead of you just diving out there pushing. And like that one, like that, I remember seeing that spot. I was like, whoa, that's what like I said, MLJ, like that's whoever that I went right to that conversation, like that's what that person wants, and I see it. You can see that, as you noticed, you saw the difference in the contact that he made. So like that, it is a noticeable difference, and like that's a great catch. A little small little difference in the moves can make a big difference in my eyes. And as you were saying with Joe Lando replacing Ninja Mac, that would be that would be one fun match. I want to see him, Ninja Mac, Commander. Let's see all those high flyers in there.
So this is one of the things I wanted to mention about Joe Lando, and I 100% mean this, and not in a bad way. I've watched wrestling a really long time. I wrote down here, Joe Lando's style is so impressive. I 100% know that can't last forever on his body. He's seriously pushing. I put that his style is a young man's game. Although he's still getting better, he's not done. He's got years on him, but I put here, fortunately, we still have years left with him. Okay, so, but I really do hope we get to enjoy his work more in GCW. He's another one where myself and probably quite a few other fans are going to kind of lobby for him to come back again. But I just wanted to say, in the way that Joe Lando's style is, that he can only do that for so long. Let's just say another 10 or 15 years, because, man, that's rough on the body. There's only so many times that those ankles can take or those knees can take. And I'm just trying to tell everybody, we're fortunate that he's out there kicking ass, and definitely go see him, because I couldn't imagine someone getting a ticket and going, oh, disappointed in Joe Lando.
Yeah.
Seriously. No one could be disappointed.
I think that comp you made to Ninja Mac was spot on, because like right when you said that, light bulb went in my head. I was like, damn, that's such a good one. Like we always want to see Ninja Mac, like we always want to see Joe Lando. Let's put them all together now. Like that's where I want to see like a crazy scramble with all these high flyers just going nuts, and like literally no feet are on the mat the entire time.
Yeah, he has incredible flair. Every punch, every kick has incredible flair. And that's why I think Ninja Mac came up in my head, because it just very well could have been Ninja Mac there. I wouldn't have known any better.
Yeah. Going to the ending of this match, Blake Christian does end up picking up the victory as he hit the, well, I was calling it the grave stomp, but he's not Braveheart no more. So he hits the face stomp onto the mat and pins Joe Lando. Going into the fourth matchup of the evening, we have a 6-person tag team match as the team of Axton Ray, Kerry, and Ricky Morton go up against Billy Starks, Chris Hamrick, and Jordan Oliver. And this was one of these matches I was just sitting on the fence. I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy this. I don't have a lot of expectations. I don't think I've seen Chris Hamrick wrestle in a very long time. Like even when he came out, I was like, is that him? Like that's how long it's been since I've seen Chris. And seeing Ricky Morton as well, like I had not reservations, but like, let me just enjoy this match, not go into it with high expectations. And I think because I went into that match that way, it was a fun match. Like, wasn't crazy, not a lot of moves, not storytelling. This was one of these matches, like, let's just have fun here. This is GCW's way of, we got Ricky here, we got Chris Hamrick here. Let's put him in with some of these up-and-comer young talent that we have and see what happens and see what kind of magic they can make. And I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, this really was about seeing Rock and Roll Express in the ring, and it was about seeing Chris Hamrick come out and find out exactly what he can still do. I mean, he has a hell of a career. So I don't know if I wrote this down or not. I'm going to find out here. I wrote down somewhere, I'm not going to try to go through it too much, but nope, I will get to that note later. There's a reason I have a note here for you. But we're looking at a lot of talent, and we're looking at a lot of years in the ring there. Yes. So I started to watch how Hamrick was. He came out to the Dukes of Hazzard theme. I thought that was kind of cool and unexpected. I didn't think anybody'd come out to that in the last 30 years. It was really fun watching Chris mess with Billy, giving her a high five. He'd put one hand up and then put it down. And I mean, she was thoroughly enjoying it. You can tell when she's smiling and laughing. She's one of those ones you can't hide. She can't hide her emotion very well. Yeah. I did like how the referee was checking him and found 2 different screwdrivers. Then tries to blame it on Billy and Jordan.
I just love seeing their face like, why are you blaming us? Like, we're your teammates. Yeah. That's just as bad as if we had it. You had it the same way. I love their reactions there.
Yeah, and then the Ray and the Mortons, Axton and the Mortons come out. They have matching gear, so I thought that was kind of a cool little touch. The rock and roll chants are going through the crowd, which is mandatory. Axton again had an impressive move set tonight. They let him shine. You know what? It's almost like not like they let him shine. It's just like they let him do his thing and he delivers. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It's just there was GCW chants all throughout this damn thing. Everybody was really, really, really enjoying themselves. There was a point about halfway through in my notes here, I put Hamrick and Ricky face off the huge chants. The 1980s are fighting again. So yeah, rock and roll chants. You still got it chants. Hamrick was playing the heel halfway through, so he went from the ha-ha into the heel. There was a point there where I noticed that Hamrick is in an excellent fighting condition. I mean, excellent wrestling condition. For his age, he puts quite a few people to shame. Hamrick hurts himself at some point, and then the check his balls chant comes out. That's probably the first time I've heard a check his balls chant. But, you know.
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No. You know, Morton looked really good, and Hamrick looked really good. It was just a beautiful overall match to watch. It was funny seeing a third screwdriver come out of Hamrick and he gets caught for it. But the one last thing I wanted to mention here, if anybody's really an old school fan, there was a match a long time ago that Hamrick's kind of known for. There's a little famous spot. He was in the WWF. He was against the 1-2-3 Kid, and he goes for a spot where he's trying to hit the 1-2-3 Kid on the ropes. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a baseball slide, but it's somewhere similar to that. And he basically completely misses the 1-2-3 Kid. And he misses grabbing the rope as he's going out of the ring to kind of sustain himself. And you see this asshole completely clear both ropes and fall back first and head right onto the concrete. And that shit looks like it hurts. And Hamrick at, I'm guessing, late 50s, went out there and did the classic oops, I missed bump. And I mean, he slid and hit that floor hard. And the fans just popped. The ones who knew what the hell he was doing really, really popped for it. So, wow. This was a loaded 14 minutes, man. Yeah. A loaded 14 minutes. Everybody got to breathe, too. Everybody did their gimmick.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised. I don't even remember it being 14 minutes. I thought it was like even faster than that. I can't believe it did not drag out that long, but go that long. And yeah, I feel like an idiot here. I am a huge Sean Waltman 1-2-3 Kid X-Pac fan. Like even when I played like the wrestling games, like I used to always enter in. My name was always Lightning Kid. I just loved when he used to be the Lightning Kid. Like that's how long I've loved Waltman. And I totally forgot that was that callback was to that spot. Cause I was like, I heard them talking about it. And I was like, okay, I think I remember seeing something similar to that. Like it must be a Chris Hamrick thing, but I didn't know it was against 1-2-3 Kid. So that was cool learning about that. Cause I didn't know that's where that spot came from.
Yeah, no shit. And on my end, I originally thought it was an ECW spot. So I had to go look back and I'm going, okay, because I wanted to make sure I told somebody, okay, what was the match? So the little historians out there, the little bit we try to give, we're right about. But the 1-2-3 Kid, I honestly thought that it was an old ECW match. I
just love how Jordan ran out there too real fast to go check on him. Like Jordan's just overprotect. It doesn't matter. Like he is a ride or die. Like if you are his team, he's going to ride or die for you. And this was, I just like how you said, like everybody just got their shit in. They had fun with it. Nothing was crazy. It was a entertaining match. Like I enjoyed it more than, like I said, I had cool expectations. Like, let me just enjoy it. And I am glad I did that because I enjoyed all these the Chris Hamrick little spots. I loved seeing Ricky get in there with him. I love seeing Axton just kind of show off his shit. Kerry Morton, I still want to see some more Kerry Morton because I've just seen little of him. I'm not like impressed, but I think with time, he's going to be just as good as his dad. And I think that might even be a reach for me to say it because Ricky's a freaking legend. But I think Kerry Morton has what little I've seen of him and what little he's shown me where I think with time he could get there. I think like this was a young team. Well, so you add Ricky Morton, but Axton Ray and Kerry Morton, I would love to see as a team because I could see Axton Ray being an old school, like, hey, I don't need to do this flippy stuff. You want an old school 1980s match? I could put that on for you and have it be entertaining. So hopefully maybe we'll get to see some more of Axton Ray, Kerry Morton teaming up here in the future. Because like I said, those two were like, I could see something possibly building there as a young tag team. Maybe go against a Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne one day. That'd be kind of fun to see.
So one of your comments there matched right up with my notes, where I wrote here that it was an excellent mix of young and old, but still being able to showcase everyone involved. The older and veterans here really blended well. This match really did evenly kind of spread out. The young kids, let them do their thing. The older guys, let them do their thing. Sometimes it's too many young kids moves, or sometimes it's slowed down because the older guys are doing their things. The young kids are sitting there just antsy, wanting to do something. Yeah, this one really was a point where everybody was able to do their thing. Anybody who was a fan of Billy had something to look at. Anybody who had, an Axton fan had something to look at, and so on and so forth. So I was really happy with this match, and I'm always happy when I can see the old rock and roll. So even if I can just see half, it was cool. It's always nice seeing Ricky out there putting his kid over.
Yeah.
And I know this is kind of dumb, but I would like to see Kerry Morton with Brian Pillman. I think for some reason they would work together. I don't know how, but they have the look and they have a feel. And I feel like for some reason, I know we don't have to go hard on it. It's just that popped in my head. I don't know why. Maybe it's a mullet thing. I don't know.
Yes, it's a mullet, and they're like the sons of really good famous wrestlers back in the time that you enjoyed wrestling. So I could see that.
Yeah, man, that's what I have to say about this one. I was really happy this didn't drag, and I was really happy that everybody got their spots in there, man. Well, happy.
Being a Rock and Roll Express fan, you were even more happier with the outcome as Axton Ray, Kerry, and Ricky Morton end up with the victory when Axton Ray hits the neck breaker onto Chris Hamrick for the victory. And here's where another little fun spot I love seeing was Jordan's interaction with Chris at the end, where Chris is on top of the ropes and getting all the cheers and love. And you just see Jordan kind of like loading up that sweet chin music. And like Chris is like, he gets down. He's not even like looking at or acknowledging Jordan at all. Jordan's still loading up. He's like, hey, turn around. And like, so Chris like barely turns around, and Jordan's like goes for the fake kick and then stops. And like, Chris is like, oh, wow, you really scared me there. Like barely like wipe his eyebrow. And like, he's like, oh, I was so scared. All right, come on, kid. Let's get out of the ring. It's time for the next match. And he holds the ring open for Jordan. Jordan's like, I'm out of here. And then halfway through, as Jordan got out and was straddling the rope, like Chris Hamrick lifted the ring up and hit Jordan. Like, I love that. That's the kind of stuff I love seeing. Like, I love how like that's just GCW mixing in. Like we talk about, like we want death matches, we get death matches. We want good technical, we get technical. We got high flyers, we got high flyers. We want a nice comedy match. Here's the comedy match. Like they do everything every show. Like as you said in this match, there was something for everybody. No matter what wrestler you liked. And no matter what kind of genre of wrestling you like, GCW always will deliver at some point throughout that night. And that's why I'm just a huge GCW fan, because they just mix it all in and hit on every single time. For our fifth matchup of the evening, we have some more tag team action as SGC, the Second Gear Crew, Lance Warner and Matthew Justice go against the Revolt. And the Revolt consists of Caleb with the K, Conley, and Zane Riley. And I haven't really seen much of the Revolt as a team. I've seen Caleb more on Impact. Zane, I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen much at all. So I was kind of interested to see what Caleb could do in the ring, because I've seen him wrestle in Impact as kind of like a more comedy gimmick where he's a manager that gets beat up. I haven't really seen him go on the wrestling scene. So this was kind of exciting for me to see how Caleb would go in a match, especially against SGC. What was your thoughts on this match, John?
So SGC comes out to streamers, which is refreshing. My streamers people, thank you so much. I love streamers. Giving and receiving love from the crowd like only SGC gets. I just thought that was fantastic. I wrote down here that I came in with no expectations for the Revolt. I had no idea, or if I had seen them, this is another set of wrestlers where I may have seen them and I just don't remember, sort of situation. What I did notice right off the bat was that Zane is big. I put down here that after a couple minutes, he was a very capable hoss for his size. I noticed it took about 3 minutes, and then Mance was tagged in, and it became beer time. Tag team drinking had commenced. I don't believe Caleb is much of a drinker. I think, admittedly, he said, I don't drink. And I think they tried to find someone who had a White Claw or something like that out in the crowd. But yeah, it took just a little bit of time, and then boom, we're out onto the floor, out in the crowd. SGC split screens up, which is
Hey.
the beautiful thing. Justice uses a fan's crutch as a weapon. Right after that, I put ... It's a party now.
That's how SGC rolls. I'm surprised they waited that long for the beer. I'm surprised they waited that long for the crutch. Like I saw the crutch earlier in the night, and I was like, someone is going to use it. And I kind of forgot what was on the card. And then like SGC came out like right away. I'm like, Justice is absolutely going to use that crutch. I don't remember who used it, but I was like, I think Justice is going to use that crutch. Like, there's no way that guy's going to go leaving the arena with 2 crutches.
Yeah, this whole thing though was fairly evenly matched. It was a good wrestling match too. I put down here again, holy shit, we have tables in GCW. And I was really looking forward to seeing how SGC was going to be putting one of these guys through that table. Funny thing, it didn't happen that way. Caleb had a dive outside the ring and actually put both members of SGC through that table. So right after that, we had This Is Awesome chants. The crowd was not sad. So it was just GCW chants all night. This Is Awesome chants kept coming in. The one thing for me that ended up being the most violent spot that I almost had to turn my head for was the gummy bears.
I loved
I
it.
couldn't fucking do it, man.
That's tough. Between that and the Legos, I don't know which one I'd rather take, man, to be honest with
Bro, I covered my kid's eyes. I'm like, bro, you can't watch it. He's like, I'm 17, Dad. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Oh, so much violence. But yeah, 2 tables came out. There was gummy bears in this. I wrote down that the Revolt is a solid team. I would like to see them again. I'm not going to complain. They show up on the card. Now I know what the hell I'm looking forward to, and I definitely want to see them again.
Yes, I would put them in part of the groups like how they were doing in the Northeast when they had like the Providence run and New York run where they had Waves and Curls and they had the main event and stuff like that. Like they've been bringing in some awesome tag teams that usually aren't GCW ones, and this was another one where, like I said, I was kind of interested because I've seen Caleb. I haven't really seen Zayn, and I don't think I have seen the Revolt. I don't know. But like you said, it's kind of one of those ones. Maybe I saw him once and forgot. It's just maybe it's been a while, but I was kind of interested. And as soon as I saw Zayn, my immediately thought was going to be you calling him a Haas too, because like, oh, then I thought for sure you would bring up like, oh, we want to see him and Crash Jackson again, because like I think those two, like going off at you, how you like your Haases, that's where my thinking was when I first saw this guy. Well, when I first saw him, like, let's see how he could go in the ring, and then like right away, I'm like, okay, he could go in the ring. Like he's not just a big dude; he could go, and I loved it. And like, yeah, I am a fan of the Revolt. I definitely would not mind seeing them come back in. I would like to see even like when GCW's with all these tag teams, maybe like do like a quick little mini tournament of like these tag teams, like the main event, Waves and Curls, like non-GCW people, like do a little tournament to kind of see who would be the next in line for a tag champion. I know it's almost impossible to do, but that's what where my mind was going during this, because I'm like, man, they just keep on bringing in these, I'm not going to say no names, but not well-known names to the everybody. And the tag teams that they're bringing in has just been killer. And I would just love to see maybe all of them go at it. And like, I want to see more of them keep on bringing in these awesome tag teams.
Yeah. And our winner in this match ended up being SGC with a splash through a table onto Zayn Riley. It was just an excellent match overall. I just went to the winner because honestly, I don't know what more to say about it. It was just a beautiful SGC match, and I want to see the Revolt again. Damn it!
Yeah, they SGC has found a formula that has worked for them, and I don't see it not working in the near future. As you were saying in the beginning, like they always get the crowd cheering and stuff like that. I was thinking too when you were saying that, I'm like, what is it going to take for the fans to turn on SGC? Or not to turn, but maybe start booing them and stuff. Because like, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna see if you're thinking the same thing.
Fucking over Effie. Okay, I think that in that Moxley match, I think Effie's about to close it out. The fans are like, and then all of a sudden, out of the crowd comes SGC. They spoil the shit. Over. And then who knows? I don't know, but I mean, it would have to be big. It would have to be big, and they would have to be involved with some sort of face, because it seems like no matter what SGC does in a match, even if they're playing a heel, they still get cheers at the end. They're too freaking lovable. It's so hard. There would have to be a true storyline, and right now that's just not happening.
Yeah, that's what I
So,
thought too. Is like that's what I was thinking. Like, what is it going to take for the crowd to turn on them or SGC to get the booze? And I was thinking Nick Gage. Like maybe they cost Nick Gage over. And
yes,
but
yes.
Effie actually kind of makes more of a sense because Effie's more SGC than they teamed with Nick Gage as MDK, but MDK is with the SGC, but he doesn't interact with SGC as much as Effie does. So I think yeah, as you're right, that would be they could easily play it off with Mance Warner costing Effie the match, like, hey, I'm the one who just wrestled on national TV. Why are you getting the title shot kind of thing? Or Justice, like, why am I'm out here killing myself, jumping off ledges and getting CTE with these chair shots nonstop. Like, when am I going to get my title shot? The kind of thing.
I got one. So what I'm thinking is maybe SGC goes, you know what? We've got a new guy named Manders, and he's damn good, and he's always here for us. He doesn't have another tag team. Hint, hint. Yep. You know, he doesn't have all of these things. What he has is us. He has SGC, and he's damn good, and we're proud of him. And we're just letting you know, we have a new number 3, and you're not it.
Yeah.
And just somewhere in there, I think would be kind of a cool little, yeah.
That was just my thought, man. I was going through the SGC.
No. I think they're both great thoughts. I think they're great thoughts. But yeah, I thought it was a nice little speculation. The other thing I wanted to mention here, because we're kind of in between this match and the next match, was there was no intermission. So I wanted to mention that there was this cleanup sponsorship that was on there. I really did like that a lot. And I just want to say, in case anyone does hear it, I would also like to see maybe if they could throw the Patreon up there so that more members know about Patreon. I'm going to tell you this. I've been a Patreon member now for quite a while. I mean, months upon, but I will let you know that it took me really listening closely to KG one night to know that there was a GCW Patreon. So I do want you to know that if you guys put it up there, there's a good damn chance that people will sign up.
Yeah.
I just more the merrier.
I agree with you too, because that's what I was just about to say when you were talking about the Patreon, where I think that's KG's thing, like, because obviously KG will sprinkle it in here and there, but it's still very sporadic when they do it, and with no KG at this show, obviously they didn't make any mention to it. But I think that you said that's a great thing, because the Patreon is fun. Like we always, every time we get our things in the mail, like, hey, what did you get today? What did you get? Like, who signed your postcard? Who signed yours? Like, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like, and then like once a month, if you're on like the Game Changer, like how we are, we get like shirts and got a freaking not SGC, a GCW frisbees. Like, you're never gonna find that anywhere else. Like, they got a lot of cool stuff that they give you out monthly, and you get to check out the podcast. You get to hear the inner workings when Brett talks with KG about or answering the mail sack. They answer a lot of fans' questions. They used to. They haven't done it in recent months. The history of GCW, where they talk about like what happened at 2 Cup stuff and the injuries and like what happened and stuff like that. They do a lot of very good seasons where they do the history and stuff like that. That's why I was really interested in the Patreon, because I'm a history kind of buff with GCW. Like, I want to know anything and everything about it. So I loved hearing these little stories that, as a fan in person or even watching, I wouldn't be able to see it because it all happens behind the scenes and stuff like that. I like to hear the challenges that Brett has putting these cards together, getting the workers to work together, working with these promotions and stuff. I just love hearing the history of it. And the Patreon's a very fun place. And you get to sponsor even Jimmy Lloyd. You got to get to sponsor a child and Jimmy Lloyd and let him eat. Someone's got to pay for his cheeseburgers and stuff at McDonald's. So I do like the Patreon. I think they could still add some more content on a more regular basis, as kind of what it announced. But it's GCW. Like, while they might be behind on stuff or fall behind, they definitely make up for it when it's time for them to make up for it, and they make you feel like special when you get these packages from Patreon. Like, I think they just said they're sending one out the other day, so I'm waiting to I'm waiting and checking my mail now, because other than that, I don't really want to check my mail. I want to get the GCW stuff.
Yeah, on my end, I really, really, really love it. I look forward to whatever comes out. We always kind of hit each other up when it's time for a podcast. Hey, you hear the new Cologne Stephen A,
Yeah.
or hey, but the one thing I want to say for sure that I think does make sense in the Patreon realm is the fact that if you need something, you can get a hold of them over there, Patreon related or whatnot. And KG or somebody usually will get back to you very soon. The other thing that I think is important is that as much as Brett can, he doesn't bullshit an answer. As much as he can, he will give you the best answer that he can. So if someone has a hard question, he's generally more than willing to give a hard answer. And I honestly respect that because it's not easy. And I've heard a couple of times where normally somebody wouldn't say this or somebody wouldn't say that, maybe because they're touchy about this or that. But there's a lot of half answers in business. And he's one of the few people that I've heard in wrestling that doesn't give me half answers. So I appreciate that too when it comes to Lauderdale. He's really good with the Patreon members and making sure he takes care of us for taking care of them.
Yeah, I like I said, I love being a part of the Patreon and stuff like that. Also, like when I get to go to shows like in LA or Vegas, we usually get to cut in the line, go first in. We're one of the first ones in too, so that's another positive of being a GCW Patreon. They have different levels, different stuff to get, but I know me and you are like the top one, so we get like all the fun stuff. But it is fun. It's another way to support it while still getting GCW content. Just kind of like how we're providing with the podcast. They have the regular podcast. You got, like as you said, the World of Deathmatch with Stephen A. and Alex Colon, and it's very interesting. I think it's super interesting hearing Alex Colon talk about all the deathmatch stuff, because who else do you want to hear speak about all the craziness that's he's seen, because he's seen a lot of stuff. And Stephen A. asks a lot of interesting and tough questions that make you think too. So it's definitely worth it. Please check out the Patreon. Please check out GCWmerch.com as they clean up the ring and they get ready for the next match. For the sixth matchup of the evening, we have a 6-way scramble, as it's a lot of local talents from the Charlotte area. We have Bojack, B-Boy, who actually is from the West Coast, Diego Hill, Jimmy Lloyd, Lucky Ali, and White Mike. And going into this match, I was excited to see all the new talents. And I know you had in your notes too, but I thought I had the exact same thought. It was very nice seeing B-Boy somewhere other than the West Coast, and especially over here out in the East Coast. It was very nice seeing B-Boy being able to travel with GCW and get some more matches in different locations other than the LA area. What were your thoughts on all the new talents and the craziness of this 6-way scramble?
Okay, so there was really so many new people to me here that it was just really, it was a lot to take in at one time. First of all, I will cover B-Boy because that's just, okay, B-Boy in Atlanta. Fuck yeah. Another East Coast city for B-Boy to take down. It's always a treat. So it's a real treat on the East Coast.
Yep.
White Michael comes out in 2 different items of clothing with leopard print. I automatically knew he was probably going to be the most entertaining one or the most theatrical one in the evening. Lloyd came out to some great cheers. So, we always know that's going to happen with Lloyd. I just wanted to mention that because I didn't want to not mention it. Bojack came out to Bojack chants. So I've never seen him. I was looking forward to him. I was really just, I was starting to believe the hype already. So I just, Bojack. I'm like, oh shit, who is this guy? Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, same thing. As soon as I first saw him, I was like, okay, that's a big boy. And then I know you probably had the same thoughts. It was like, all right, we got to see him and Tankman go at it. Like that was my original thought. Was like, and then I put him, of course, in the Haas scramble that you always kind of want to see him. Like, yeah, he could be a nice fit in that Haas scramble with Calvin Tankman and Crash Jackson and some other big guys.
So this is the other thing too, was that I didn't know, maybe this is maybe for further on, but I didn't know if there was possibly an injury for Bojack, or possibly Bojack is just very green, or just, not green, but newer. Maybe he had an injury, but there were a couple times where Bojack had a couple slips. Otherwise, I could say he's one of those guys where he just needs to have some more reps in the ring. And I think he'll be ready to take a bigger stage. I really like who he is. I like the Bojack chant. He seems like he has a decent personality. So I think that, I mean, I see him and Tankman as damn near similar size, looks, weight, the whole nine. So I could see both of those facing off against each other. They're just 2 to 3 years apart in experience.
Yeah, Bojack's only 22. I'm looking up here and has had a total of 116 matches. But
Wow.
But that's such young age that you can only tell he's only going to get better and better. Like he actually was moving a lot more fluid around the ring than I was kind of expecting when I first saw a man that size. I think that's what blows my mind with Tankman is a man that size, how fluid they are in the ring and how much they move and how agile they are too. Like I always like seeing the agile hosses and like
Yes.
Bojack could definitely be added to one of them. And like you said, I would like to see get a little bit. Maybe it's also big match jitters. It's probably the biggest match he had in the biggest platform that he's had too on the indie scene. So probably some pre-match jitters there, but like you said, he was a little slip-ups, but nothing that I don't think that could be easily fixed and probably not even easily fixed or just jitters and it happens. And I definitely want to see more of him and hopefully Tankman in a GCW ring someday.
Yeah, I really didn't count it against him. I just wanted to mention it because I could say that, I mean, it was just part of the match. So I wanted to make sure I put something there. Yeah, your notes and my notes kind of came close together when it came to Bojack's youth, really making him or keeping him agile.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the benefits of him being a hoss at his age, I think is really what's keeping him in a good spot there. I hope he really keeps with it. Yeah, I really do, because otherwise he ends up just being a big old rock, and that's where sometimes it could be the death of the hoss. So I really wrote down here the same thing we were just talking about, where he needs a couple years of seasoning before we actually see the full capabilities of who he is. Also, I think he has some good crowd interaction. I think that a couple more years on him will definitely improve that even more. If he sticks with that, you know, we're going to have a Kevin Owens situation where he's just yelling out, pissing off people in the ring.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that out of him. There was a moment where Diego jumped on Bojack's shoulders and he did like a twisting dive outside of the ring onto all the other men in the match. Incredible. Diego also had a corkscrew tope con hilo outside of the ring. This Diego guy, they really focused on him quite a bit throughout this scramble.
Yeah,
it was just incredible.
They all looked impressive, like all those new names. Like, I've seen a little of Lucky Ali, not too much of them. Diego Hill, I have never seen. Bojack, I never saw. White Mike, I never saw. So, with all four, let's say pretty much four new names to this six-way scramble that I've never really seen, I thought they killed it. And with B-Boy and Jimmy Lloyd in there, I thought those, as we kind of always go back to, especially with younger talent, you need that older talent to kind of keep things on the rails and stuff like that. I was very impressed, and I did not feel like I was watching a bunch of new names. I don't, how do I explain it? Like the match did not feel like, oh my God, it's a bunch of rookies in there just kind of going crazy and just not having fluidity. Like the whole match seemed like a normal GCW scramble match where we got all the high spots, everyone got their stuff in, and for the most part, it was pretty clean looking and looked like no one's got out of sorts of like where they're supposed to be and everything of like how the match was supposed to progress throughout the match. It's like everybody's in the right spots, did the right moves, and yes, there were a couple like didn't fully connect on a kick, or as we see later with Bojack's backflip, like you can kind of see he does like a double hesitation. But I just think those are all like minor things that, as you noted, that could be fixed. And I think with a little bit more seasoning to all the four of those competitors that I've never seen in a GCW ring, I would very much look forward to the next time they're in not in Atlanta. Where was this one at? Charlotte, I think it was. Yeah, Charlotte. I would like to see them run it back next time they go to Charlotte, because a couple months, even more seasoning, I think it'll be a fantastic match again.
I had a really fun time listening to White Michael just talk. He was one of those people, like in our local area, we have Songbird over there in FSW. Yep. He reminded me of that, where basically what he was saying was so fun and entertaining, it was actually overshadowing the match that was going on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention there aren't many wrestlers like that out there. So I just wanted to say kudos to him, because I really do love that flair for someone who can do that. But I tried not to write too many spots in this one because there were just so many spots. The last time I'm going to use spots is right here. All six men earned theirs.
Yes.
Absolutely earned theirs. I also wrote down here that I think Diego would fit nicely in GCW. And I really strongly believe that he would be one where I think that he could fit into a show scramble easily and not have a problem entertaining everyone who sees it.
Yeah, like I said, there wasn't any one of those I want to see again. I want to find out where their local promotions are. It looks like I see like some of them on Cage Match are the DPW and stuff like that. I definitely want to go out of my way and see some more of Kojak Bojack. I want to see them grow. I want to see Diego Hill grow as a performer. That's where I kind of like fall in love with a lot of these GCW wrestlers where like Axel Ray. Oh, he's awesome. I want to go out and check him out. I want to watch his growth, not just in GCW, but seeing the growth outside, because we might not see them in GCW again for a while. And next time we see them, they're going to be like, whoa, like 4 months later, they're like, took that next step. And I want to see how they got to that next step and see them grow. So I definitely will be checking out some more of Bojack, Diego Hill, not Jimmy Lloyd, Lucky Ali, and White Mike for sure. I definitely am going to check out some more of what they have to offer in their own home promotions as well. And we do have a winner of this match as Bojack, as I was saying. He went for a moonsault, but you could kind of see he went up top and kind of like bent down to get the backflip, and then it kind of hesitated, and then like didn't reset or didn't take his time, just kind of went right into it again, and kind of threw off the timing where White Mike was like, oh God, he's going to hesitate. Maybe I should move, and tried moving out of the way. Bojack does end up kicking him on his back, but how I played it out in my head was with that size of a man doing a backflip from that height, landed on my back. I think that would be enough for Bojack to get the 3 count on me as well. So he didn't fully connect it, but got enough of it where he picked up the victory. But like you said, I'm not going to let those little slip ups, because I don't think they were mental. I think it was all just physical, and that shit's going to happen in wrestling. It wasn't like, oh, I totally missed the spot and didn't know what to do. It's like just physically wasn't quite there, but I definitely want to see some more of all of those competitors, especially Bojack with Calvin Tankman. Heading into our 7th match of the evening, we have Effie going against George South. And I'll let you kind of take over this one more, because you know more George South than I do. So I'll kind of just piggyback off of you, and I kind of want to learn some more stuff from George South, because like you said at the beginning, you had a lot of knowledge on him that I had no idea. So I'm going to kind of sit back here and learn and ask some questions this time.
Okay, so I don't know like a huge amount. So what I will tell you is this. When I was growing up, the one thing that you would always see in these wrestlers was they look like they were guys who were in their 40s, sometimes their 50s. These are people that you would meet at a bar that if you pissed off, you wouldn't want to have to meet them outside somewhere. All of them look like they were, grizzly and strong, and they've seen hard times, and and they've earned their keep in life. So it was really cool to see somebody like George South come out, because he had that almost like that Vietnam veteran kind of tough to him, that biker tough that you would see if a whole gang comes into town somewhere. But I really just enjoyed it. I was gushing from the get-go. What's up, brother?
I was gonna say, did you say like when the introduction happened before the show even started with George South, did he wrestle for WCW? Did I hear you correctly with that? Like early in the 90s or no?
Oh my gosh, I have to go back into the archives and find out off the top of my head.
Like what promotions did he wrestle
I'm
for?
sure off the top of my head, I'm going to say NWA.
NWA, okay.
And I'm pretty sure he's probably done some Mid-South.
Cool.
And don't hold me to it, because oh my gosh, there's so many. Like if you ask me right now, tell me each 4 horsemen where they've been to, and I'm going to say, oh God, okay, Arn Anderson, and I'm probably going to rail off NWA, WCW, did a little WWF, WWE, you know what I mean? Like I've kind of got them in buckets, but I'll tell you, there's going to be more than those 2 promotions, 100%. Okay. He definitely was in the, quote unquote, and I say it lovingly, the mud show territories. So, I mean, but I'm going to put it out like I wrote it down, because it's just so much easier. And a lot of the words that I wrote about George South, I also posted on Twitter, because I kind of felt that this was something where I haven't seen him in a long time. And I had the feeling like I had back in the 80s, where you see this tough old bastard who has nothing else to go on, but he just wants to kick the shit out of someone and ruin their day too. And it's lovely to see somebody that doesn't look like a movie star. Somebody that looks like they've had some war wounds. But yeah, so here we go. I have that. Welcome to the jungle place, and out come good old George South. He is 59 years old. I did like the old school rough look that he had. He looks like he's seen some wars, was what I wrote down. I did say that I wrote everything. I love everything about George. He's very old school. I was raised with this kind of heel. He's highly interactive with the fans. He started calling people idiots, drunks, calling people fat. I really thought it was hilarious. I love the old school heat. I think it was great. They used to do this back in the day all the time. Someone would come in the ring, they'd grab a microphone. The Dudleys were probably one of the last bastions of that, one of the last waves of those performers that would usually grab the mic and just stir up the crowd to a point to where it was almost boiling.
Yeah.
And so I love to see that, because there's not a lot of performers that do that today, and or do it that well, and or do it that old school style. So he was truly Southern in the way that he had, I love Jesus patch on his side there, and then I think he had another one, a John 3:16 patch, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So you have this guy out here, and you go, oh, you know what? He's actually looks like to me a Christian guy, really nice guy. He's tough, but he's got that on his leather jacket there. So I mean, that was so South, man. Even the tough talkers go to church on Sunday. Yeah, that's what I was looking at there. But yeah, I really liked how he was collecting that old school heat. You could tell him the whole time, the background, like Effie and Emil were really loving it. Yes. But also Effie, I think for TV purposes or what, he was obviously trying to put the train back on the rails. But honestly, George, at his level, as much of a veteran as he is, he can take as much time as he wants. So I think, Effie's going, okay, pay attention to me. Pay attention. You can even see there's a point where he goes, come on, me. And it didn't work, man. He didn't get back to him.
Yeah, I agree. I like everything you said there. Like I saw it too, where like they were loving it, but then it's like, okay, this is kind of going into our match time here. Like this ain't the old school. Like, yeah, just because we're not on TV, like national TV, we still got a time crunch to hit here, man. You can't just keep on going and going and going. And like you could tell they were enjoying it, but while also, as you said, everybody's like, hey, we got to get this going. We got to get back on the rails here. Let's tell what you're trying to get, the heat. Let's tell that in the match instead of just on the mic. And I think everyone's trying to also avoid another maybe Blake situation where they start just booing him and they don't even want to see him wrestle.
Well, it was fantastic, though, because, I mean, it was to a point to where George South was kind of just going around the ring going, you, fuck you, fuck you. I mean, he shits on Emil. Gets on Emil, tells the worst he's ever seen. He tells Effie that Effie gives gay people a bad name. That was just hilarious because, in a time where people wouldn't say things like that, he says it, and it wasn't horrible. It was just for heat. But that brought out the fuck you chants from the crowd. And I could honestly say from that point, George really did his job. Ultimate heat. At some point, the crowd was really taking even George's attention away, and that's when Effie went up real quick and snatched that mic away from him, because Effie was primarily just trying to get the show back on track and back on the road. But I wrote here really that George doesn't work with a TV timetable in his head, and 100% I think that works. The heat came and he worked hard for it. Honestly, from where he's from, if that guy needs to talk shit for 15 minutes, he will, because the overall product will be better for it. And back then, I mean, like I said, Ric Flair could go for 60 minutes, for crying out loud. If the heel wants to draw heat, let him go talk shit about someone's fat wife for 10 or 15. It was fantastic, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed the beginning. I was interested to see, because like I said, I don't know too much of George. I didn't know anything, not even too much. I didn't even know anything of George South. All I understood was that he was a legend, and I didn't go out of my way to find out why. So that's my fault. But that's why I was like, oh, let's see. Like, you seem to know a lot about it. Like, I wanted to listen to you to kind of do all that and educate me, because I learned a lot of stuff what you were saying there. And I think his promo wise kind of reminded me, and I'm going to go back for my age here, kind of reminded me of like the Brooklyn Brawler when he would come out before he would go against people and like just shit on the crowd. Like, his mannerisms and language felt like the Brooklyn Brawler. But then I kind of got scared when, like, as you said, when he brought up, like, you bring gay, or you give gay people a bad name and all that stuff with Effie. Like I that threw me back to the Tracy Smothers, when Tracy Smothers wrestled against, I think,
Yes.
Joey Janela it was, and like he was saying some questionable stuff there. I'm like, dude, you can't say that nowadays. Like, I get like you have the old school wrestling mentality, but it is the year. This one was 2022. I think the one that was Tracy Smothers, I was like earlier, like 2021 or 2020, when he was saying a bunch of questionable stuff too before his match with Joey. But in the same fashion, he's saying all that stuff where he's going like way overboard just to get that extra heat on him for the match. And it's like right before the match started, you see them reach for that little bit of extra heat to get that match started hot. And you now have Effie starting the match off, getting hitting the punches and starting the match. And I think it gave a hot start to the match through a promo instead of just doing high spots and stuff like that, which was, as you said, a very old school feel. And yeah, I felt a lot of Brooklyn Brawler with watching George South.
Wow, that's really cool that you mentioned that. I was really that was a great connection, man. I mean, legit. I think George South is a time capsule, and so that was why I really enjoyed it, was because I could have taken his exact performance, done it 35 years ago. I mean, the exact performance 35 years ago, and it would have felt exactly the same. And I think that was the nostalgia portion of it. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. I can guarantee you he's been doing that same thing for quite a long time. But I would love to see more people study that style. There's not a lot of wrestlers that can get that type of heat today, that style. I couldn't name off the top of my head more than maybe 3 to 5 performers that could get heat like that if they just applied themselves on the microphone. I also wonder, with the way things are now with fans and how people are a little more touchy about how things are said and done, if a real heat kind of guy could come out and do that. George South was doing the heat thing that men have done for 40, 50, 60, 70 years when they go out into that ring. And now it's a touch more touchy.
Yeah.
And I don't name everything he's saying or doing in this match, but I mean, yeah, it borders on that line. You can see people kind of get a little edgy sometimes.
Yep.
But
that's what I was saying with the Tracy Smothers. Like, that just threw me back to then, where Tracy Smothers was saying questionable stuff before the match. I'm like, still got a match to go here, dude. Like, you can't, like, you don't want the crowd to absolutely shit on you. Like, get the heat, but you say something too much where it's going to affect possibly the match, and something else happens, especially in a GCW ring or match, when you're going to be outside with those fans. So, like I said, when he brought up that kind of stuff, that was the same thing you said. Like, ooh, that might be a little too touchy. Where I was like, ooh, let's see what happens. Like,
yeah, it was really funny when Effie was trying to get everything back on track. Finally, it kind of took place when he says, "Fight me, you old man." And I thought that he handled it in a very comical manner. He handled it in fun. I think it was very creative the way he did it. He did it intelligently so that it wasn't one of these weird, awkward moments. You could tell that he was looking at him going, okay, let's get the damn thing back on track.
Yeah.
But it took only 2 minutes, and this thing went right to the outside of the ring. The crowd the entire time is up George's ass because of all the heat he worked so hard to get. I absolutely loved it. There was a part in the crowd, I don't know if the crowd said it or if George South said it, but I overheard, quote, "Jimmy Valiant would still fuck you up." Now, for me, being somebody who's, was raised on Valiant, that was hilarious, knowing that he just had his, I think, 80th birthday. Don't quote me.
Wow.
About a couple weeks ago. But George got busted real quick on his forehead and arm with his own baseball bat. So I thought that was really, nice of him to at least get busted with his own equipment.
I like how he brought out the old, like, not GCW, the old, like, barbed wire baseball bat from, like, the video games and stuff like that. Like, I don't think I've seen a barbed wire bat. Oh, maybe Moxley probably brings it out every once in a while, but it was nice seeing an old school wrestler kind of bringing out an old school weapon. I like seeing that.
Yeah, what's funny is he's not even trying. That's literally his thing. That's what I love about that, Yeah, so the funny thing, I listened to Effie's podcast, Weekend at Effie's, I believe it's called.
Yep.
Yeah, so I listen to that when I have the chance, and there was a point where Effie was talking about the fact that George South ripped his fishnets, and he was talking about how he was really surprised how much heat people get for ripping his fishnets. And he said it's easier to get his fishnets ripped than it is to sit there and wrestle for 3 minutes because the crowd is just acknowledging it on such a level.
And I think KG, this was like, I know that it's not totally off track, but this goes back to when we talk about KG and like the littlest of things that he says and brings up adds a lot to the match. And where I remember, I think it was the match against John Moxley where Moxley was going after the fishnets. And I even think you were the one who mentioned it because in your notes said like he's ripping off their protective shield from Effie as those shields being the fishnets. Like, I like how even like that little comment from that now gets heat when they go for the fishnets on Effie. So I just think that adds like that shows how important good commentary could be and how much they could add to a story where just the simple fact of a heel going after a piece of clothing that doesn't affect anything on the match. It's not like they're going after the luchador's mask or they're going off of like or something like they're going for fishnets on a leg that will not affect that wrestler in any fashion. But because KG made that one comment, now other fans that are educated and listen, they could pick up on that little thing and like, oh, let's give more heat to the wrestler. It's another easy way for Effie's opponents to get heat as well. So I just loved how like I liked how you mentioned it. I just brought me back to like I think that the reason why is because of KG's comment.
Oh yeah, and this is a Cardona effect. After you see George 5 times, 10 times, the GCW crowd, this is their kind of heel. I shit you not, if every GCW fan saw this show and what George South did, the next time George South comes out, we're going to do our best to chew him alive. I'm not kidding. Boy, would it be good to see him back because of that reason alone.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Gypsy Joe. I'm so sorry to ever say that, but a really tough, grizzled man who can just take it. He can still take it. Honestly, the run up to the match was actually longer than the match itself. This was a 10-minute match, and I'm not kidding. The debacle, the fiasco, all the fun shit that was really, the meat of the match was probably 10, 11, 12 minutes, I think, overall. Yeah, I think it was a great brawl. I was really surprised, but I kind of wasn't surprised that Effie ended up winning this with a sack rider.
Yeah.
So, by the way, our winner of this match was Effie with a sack rider. But, yeah, I enjoyed George's style, totally old school. I would really like to see someone like a John Wayne Murdoch, a Kevin Owens, an MJF style person take on George's style. Maybe just study the style and see how it's working for him. I 100% can tell you it's somewhat of a simple style. You just have to be almost more direct with the fans than you would now, because now if you're kind of more direct with the fans, it can be personal.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes I would almost say it's cool to have GCW fans and be a heel, but there are some companies where being a traditional heel these days is downright freaking dangerous.
Yeah.
And I know there were dangers back then too. So, I mean, we just have slightly different dangers here and there. I like the point where the bat was stuck. He put the bat into the side of that ring there, and it stuck. And I just thought it was fucking poetry. I'm an art person. I love everything that goes along with wrestling. And this to me was just, I mean, I would have been snapping pictures of that shit. That's going to go in that dude's fucking history book.
So are you talking about like at the end of the match, how it was standing up, like straight up and down on the outside of the ring? So that was complete accident. He didn't put it there. He was So he was held onto the bat as he took the sack rider, and it landed that way. And that brings me to, like you said, like that the chances of him trying to do that ever again is never going to happen. And I had that in my notes on this match was like, I loved how the bat stuck out, because now I was going to ask if you saw, let's say like SummerSlam, where Brock was on his tractor cutting doing his entrance, and he tossed the mic to Roman, and how perfect Roman just caught it. Like, that was so freaking perfect. And like, they couldn't do that again if they tried. And then like something else happened just right after that SummerSlam match. I can't remember it now. I should have wrote that notes. I wrote the Roman note, but I forgot what the other one was. But there was another situation where, it was the AEW. If you go to the coffin match where Brody Keane went against Darby Allin, how Brody King got knocked into the coffin, and the coffin, like as he fell into it, the coffin fell onto him by himself for the victory, like for Darby Allin. So like
wow.
these little timings are like now happening more and being caught on cameras, or like even
Yes.
if by fans cameras, which is awesome. Like that's the one good thing about all these people having cameras on their phones now. You can see all these cool little moments, because that was another moment. And I liked how Sting also during that match like went to toss the bat at Malachi Black, and like the bat landed perfectly right on to Malachi too. Like I just love those little things that you said that bet. Like it just brought up to me. It was like, oh, I'm glad you caught that too, because I was gonna bring that in my notes and I saw it on your notes as you got to. I was like, oh, good. I was gonna talk about the bat landing. I just love seeing those little things that just add.
Yep.
That could never be done again if someone tried.
Well, I think these things that we appreciate come with age, because I would have been like 16. I'd be like, oh, cool, the bat hit. Yeah, okay. Or I would have been like, oh, Maki came out and sung a song. But, you turn 40, 45, 50, 60, 30 years old even, and you start to think about things like history and legacy. And, you grew up watching ECW, and then you watch ECW age out in front of you and they get old. And then you start to have to live through the tapes. So I'm trying to think of a good way to put it, but when those moments happen, like Maki Ito singing, or like when George puts that fucking bat in there and it's stuck, I mean, those are special moments. You get your camera, you appreciate them because they're one of a kind, and that's what you're there for, is those one of a kind moments, and you can hope you're there for them. So, at the end of this match, the only other thing that I wanted to mention, outside of the fact that Effie really was playing a good old school part, I appreciated it, was the fact that George is heading to the back. He's kind of sore like anybody his age would. And you'll see that he goes right through the curtains there at the end where everybody has their entrance and exit. And then you see Ricky Morton follow right behind him. And this kind of goes with the fact that I think about history and legacy. George has been doing this since 1984. Ricky has been doing this since 1977. In less than 3 seconds, over 90 years of wrestling experience passed through those curtains.
Yeah. Evening, our 8th match of the night, we have a tag team match as Team Thrusty of Alley Catch and Dark Sheik go against the Ugly Ducklings, consisting of Lance Lude and Rob Killjoy. This was another fun match. Once I saw Effie who had his match with George South, and I saw the Ugly Ducklings and Alley Catch and Dark Sheik, I was like, this had to be a good. I like how it's kind of like SGC, where they're kind of like growing, of making a separate little stable or faction or fans.
Yes.
While still also being part of SGC. So now you got Dark Sheik joining Alley Catch and Effie, and they started doing like their own little trios things and stuff like that. So I like Dark Sheik being able to get in these matches with Alley Catch and Effie and work as a tag team with those, because I think she fits in real good. And as I think it was this weekend was one of the best ones I've seen from Dark Sheik as well, coming off of Homecoming, which was like her phenomenal performances there as well. What were your thoughts on Team Thrusty and the Ugly Ducklings?
I really did think that Dark Sheik was a great addition.
Yes.
I think she's a great person to put in this spot. I think that she's going to hold her spot very well as a wrestler. I also think that Effie and Allie hopefully brings out a little more of the smile and a little more of the personality in Dark Sheik, so that we can possibly connect with her more.
Yep.
Because people really do connect with Dark Sheik. They really enjoy the product. They enjoy the personality. So I would like to see more of that, come out smiling more, whatnot. And I know that might be somewhat against a dark character, but she's so over that it's like, why not smile for just a while? Change the clothes, which the black and white getup was wonderful, by the way. I know she was proud of it, so I will say, if she listens at all, that was an awesome getup. I hope we get to see that again. It took me a second to figure out what Thirsty meant.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say that, just because I'm sitting there picking out holes in body parts. I'm like, okay, which one was it? Yeah, go ahead there, bud, because I got to hear what you're wanting to say there.
No, I was just going to say that, as you said, I feel the same way. I think Dark Sheik has found a comfort zone for her. We're teaming with Effie and teaming with Alley Catch and seeing what they have been doing against all these other cool tag teams and other even on the one-on-one matches. I think she fits in right there perfectly, and you can, as you said, you can see her smiling and enjoying herself more. And I think it's because she has found a comfort zone with Alley Catch and Effie, and that's given her confidence. And I think I'm seeing the confidence in her in-ring action because of teaming with Alley Cat and Effie. Where, like I said, Homecoming, that was the best I've seen of her. That was awesome, and this match was a good match, and I believe she wrestled in Atlanta too. And like, yeah, oh yeah, she definitely wrestled in Atlanta. Sorry, like I thought, like these last 4 events was kind of like her coming out party as a performer and feeling her comfort zone. Where I think comfort's a big part of wrestling. Where if you're not comfortable with what you could do to the ring, how the fans are going to accept it, you're not comfort of who you're going against or who you're teaming with, it affects your mentality, which could cause, as we see, like us on those the 6-way, the scramble, where little hiccups here, there, little like thoughts in your mind can cause a little mess up. Where Dark Sheik's now coming into her own, and she's excelling, and I just love seeing her, as you said, smile and enjoy. You see, like she is enjoying and loving this, and I'm glad because she has definitely earned it over these last 2 years that I've seen from her in GCW.
Yeah, I think Dark Sheik's really solidified in GCW. I think this is going to be a situation where it would be a mistake if she left, or it would be on purpose, on her own accord, that she left. Otherwise, though, she's going to be around for a while, barring maybe being picked up by someone, which I may not be surprised by, honestly. Going over to the Duckling side, I really thought it was cool that they came out quacking. I really thought that it's a very family-friendly, good for kids style that they have going on there. I think it would be really cool to see, 100 kids out in the audience going quack, quack, quack. So yeah. I thought the quacking was cool for that family crowd primarily. I see why they do it. And I even saw there were a couple of times where both of the guys on the Ugly Ducklings were doing like facial features and mouth things so that, made them look ugly.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that they stood in front of a mirror for quite a while and figured out how to look that way. But the feel-good moment here was, I don't know which one, was it Lance or was it Rob that had just gotten over cancer?
I honestly forget as well.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. The point is it was a feel-good story that that he had kicked cancer's butt. So it was really good to see both of them back. The last time we'd seen them in GCW was January 31st of 2021. So it had been a fairly long time. But everything here when it came to the action. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, wow, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. I feel maybe because I just saw it more recently, but it doesn't feel like it's been almost over a year and a half since we've seen them in the GCW ring.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of segue into something just for fun. This right here would be a time where I'd like to talk about something I put on Patreon, which was about having old videos or old matches being played during intermission. So I just wanted to make sure I'm clear on that because it's kind of a popular thing. I just wanted to kind of say why I asked about it on Patreon was because here come the Ugly Ducklings. Just like Los Macizos, they haven't been around a while. Quite a few of the fans now are newer fans because GCW's had quite a lot of growth in this last year. I would like to have seen possibly at intermission an old Ugly Ducklings match. Give me one of their bangers, so that when they quack out, right before the main event, it gives us an idea to know who they are and what they're capable of. So when they're in the ring, we could even maybe see their growth. How much better have they gotten since that highlight reel a year and a half ago? I'd love to know. That's why I wanted to say that, was because also there are some people who they're just sitting there alone and quiet, and then they got to sit for 15 minutes, which kind of sucks a little bit. You get a drink, you go pee, you get something in the microwave, there goes 5 to 7 minutes or whatever. But I just wanted to make sure I kind of put that in there. And for some reason, this moment here with the Ugly Ducklings was a good it came up in my mind right now because the Ducklings were a good point to where if I would have seen something just a little bit before them, I would have been a touch more acclimated, and it would have made the return possibly a little bit more touching to me personally. I would have understood the story more.
Yeah, and I love, like, I am 1,000% with you, especially for us fans at home. I love watching, like, during the intermission. Like, okay, you can put the little timer in the bottom third or whatever while still showing a match. Like, when the ones that come to my mind, it goes back to the Jimmy Lloyd and G Raver. And it wasn't just matches, even though like they had like the 4 crazy matches, and I remember like the first match they had 1-on-1 was after the G Raver, he got his arm cut up, and then like that match while they were setting up for the death match at the AC center or showboat,
Mhm.
while the intermission was going on, they played the whole ladder match where G Raver got hurt, and then it went into it. Like not only just showed that whole match, it went into right from that moment. They didn't even show the ending of the match. They showed the moment G Raver got hurt. He goes to the back, and then it cuts to a vignette of Jimmy Lloyd sitting at home watching that match and stopping it at that point because now it was such a well done video and vignette. Like as you said, for intermissions, like if nobody caught any of that, you watch that intermission and then next match is Jimmy Lloyd G Raver, you are 1,000% invested in it. And I've showed that to like people that I'm trying to get into GCW, like when they say I love death matches and I love great storytelling. Boom, let me show you this whole story of G Raver and Jimmy Lloyd. And every single match I show them, as they set up for the match, it goes into intermission and you see a different video before each match that explains the story, explains where they're going. And those people are like, before the match starts, like, oh crap, oh yeah, G Raver's gonna kick his ass for that. It's like, that's what you want. These intermissions and those vignettes is for those people to 15 minutes, I'm invested, I'm in, let me see it right now. I agree 1,000% with you.
So this will be the last thing I say on this, and this will probably be the last thing I say, I think, for this match. Maybe I got a little more I think to say, but let's not think that we couldn't use that match also, that replay, as part of the show. Okay, here's a good point. Maybe let's try to do 2 or 3 death matches a show. Let's do 2. And let's just say this show, you're only going to have 1. And let's just say it was so-so. Or we just know there's a crowd that, they usually want death matches in GCW. So let's just say it's a death match light kind of show. Throw a death match on that replay.
Yep.
Little things like that. Kind of work it into the card so that when you do pay the money to see the card, you look at that. You got a free death match out of it.
Yeah. And I've seen
I don't know. Let that replay work for you and your story. Let it work so that the fans who want to see, maybe they want to see another scramble. Oh my God, I want scrambles. Let them see another scramble. We've got some fucking bangers for scrambles out there.
And those 15 minutes, that's a match time. So instead of just dead air where it could be a match, this is what I'm just for the viewers at home, obviously. And I'm going to hopefully remind me if I don't go into about what to do for the people in the crowd as well, live watching it, instead of 15 minutes of like intermission break time and all this stuff. Like I have another idea, which I would like to see because I've seen it done once or twice in GCW, but I've also seen in other companies, which works out perfect too. But
what would that be?
So for the fans in attendance,
let's talk about it, bro.
For the fans in attendance, I've seen them come out and as they're setting up the fuckery around the death match, someone come out and cut a promo as they're setting up around them. And you could still kill 2 birds with 1 stone for the live audience where, hey, you don't have to watch it. You could still hear it as you're getting your refreshments, as you're going to the bathroom, as you're at the merch tables. You could still hear the wrestler cutting a promo, furthering a story for the live crowd in those 15 minutes as they're still setting up the fuckery. So that way the people in attendance, they don't have to pay full attention to it and watch it. They can still do what they need to do, which is awesome for the wrestlers and for the venue, for the merch, for everything, and still get a storyline further told to you audibly through listening to them in the ring. Or as I've seen that one done a couple of times, or if you're at a venue with the video, like, or with the big screen, like as an AC, sometimes they have like that projector, they could do it. Or at UCC, I've seen them up there with the projector, like Mike Bailey almost knocked the projector off. Like during those 15 minutes, if they set up a death match at UCC, bring down the projector real fast, pop something on there for the live crowd, and then boom, pull it up when you go back live and it's all set. And like that way the fans don't feel like they've lost 15 minutes of dead air or dead event. And us at home, I love the whole video packages of like you could extend it. If an upcoming match has a story, explain the story with, just cut it up real fast and put some, if they cut promos on social media or whatever, put that online, boom, done. Or as you said, hey, next match coming up is not a death match. We haven't seen nothing all night, but we know you guys love your death matches. Here's an awesome one of maybe a wrestler,
here's a death match.
Maybe a wrestler that was in it, or just put on even if it has nothing to do with it, just put on a match, because especially from events in let's say around the COVID area when the COVID hit, like a lot of people maybe didn't watch then, as you said, a lot of new fans come in. So kind of
Yeah.
explain the history of GCW through these little 15-minute intermissions where it's not dead time at all, where it feels like right now it is automatic dead time, or it's okay, 15 minutes, and we go walk my dog real fast. And I'll come back before the next match or in the venue, go buy the merch. But then it's just dead time where I don't think it's needed, but it's also not a huge thing, but like to see, but it could be huge, especially for the viewers at home. Like, I just think it has more positives than negatives.
Yeah, because I know some people, sometimes even myself, I know this is weird to admit, but I'm one of those people sometimes where after a lot of loud noise for an hour, 2 hours or so, I kind of need a 5, 10, 15-minute break where it's just quiet. I mean, I've went to parties and sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go to the bathroom for 5 minutes and just enjoy the quiet just so I can kind of chill.
Yeah.
So sometimes I like that. So what I would say for people like that is when videos come on at the intermission, just go ahead and mute it. But otherwise, there are people that I think would really appreciate it. I see the positives of making sure that using that video to balance the show and or maybe bring everyone up to speed on the history of a team or a performer would only be a positive, because now when that performer comes out, it's a bigger pop and everyone's on the same page with who the hell he is.
Yeah, like right now, upcoming is the Art of War games. You know, that's going to take 20, 30 minutes to set. Like, if I remember last year, it took like 45 minutes, I think, to set up last year, where they didn't even, it was kind of dead air for 45 minutes. Like, I just think, hey, show last year's Art of War games. Here's what to expect in an Art of War games match. This is what we did last year.
Oh, like, you have a great point.
Upcoming is like a really good chance to prove, like, hey, do it. Like, if they're like, let's say, I don't know what to say, like they're listening, but like now is a good time to do it with all that's going to take up setup time. Like you have to do something for 30, 45 minutes of break time, because it's going to be a long time to set that up.
Yeah. What I was thinking was, let's just say running up to TOD, you know what, play a couple of last year's TOD. So the next, let's just say 6 shows leading up to TOD, every intermission is going to get a TOD match. Yeah, you know, something like that. You know, you can almost use that to kind of, you know, make the card a little more violent leading up to a nice violent show that's going to be coming. Yeah. But okay. I'll circle around because I will continue. This was fairly exciting for a match right before the main event. Honestly, we talk a lot about how most of the matches right before the main event are generally solid classic wrestling matches. They're generally matches where it's a little more of it's bringing the temperature and the heartbeat of the place down. And this was atypical for that reason, because this was fairly exciting.
Yes.
You know, bell to bell. I'm not going to complain at all. I like that they do this. I love it every way, it seems. But this was nice to be able to. I was ready for the main event. So it was nice that instead of getting a 7 or 8 minute decent match, I'm getting an almost 12-minute, you know, banger out of this. I was really happy. So I just what I took out of this was, when I was looking at it, I could see where the Ugly Ducklings would really fit better. They fit great, but I think they would fit better in a family setting because the kids would quack all day long. And chances are that's probably where they are. I don't see much of them. They're tough as shit too. So I can't say they're not capable there. I'm just saying they're in a very fortunate position to where they could be in the R-rated death match and they can all go all the way down to G and quack. So right. I do like that. If they use their brains, they're quite capable there of some serious, you know, I mean, it's just a very broad stroke that they could put on their sails. But it was mostly a stay in the ring kind of match. Generally, though, there were 3 or 4 people at the same time in the ring. So, I mean, they were both each on, you know, it was 2v2, but it wasn't 1v1 hardly at all.
Yeah.
You know, 2v1 here, 2v2 there.
I like I saw you had it, you know, Sue, and I was going to make a mention too, because like I saw like one really cool move from the Ugly Ducklings that I saw. I was like, they have a lot of good tag team moves as well. You can tell they've been tag team for a long time. And like one of the moves I popped on, which I don't think I've seen, maybe I have, but I haven't seen in a while, was the Ugly Ducklings had one of the alley catch or Dark Sheik on the ground, and then they did like one partner of the Ugly Ducklings went to go do like a backdrop on his partner. and then like just flipped him over, and like that partner did a backflip and into the landed on Alley Catch or Dark Sheik, and then the other wrestler did a backflip on top. So like I love seeing like that. Obviously, we talk about Jordan and Wayne, like those tag team chemistry moves. You could tell like how solid and smooth they were as a tag team, and we saw a lot of those kind of different moves throughout this match. But that was the one that stuck out to me. It's like, oh, that was pretty creative how they did that. And going into the ending of this match, Team Thrusty ends up picking up the victory as Alley Catch hits the pile driver and Dark Sheik with the baseball slide at the same time for the. That leads us into GCW Sanctified main event of the evening, as the GCW Extreme title is up for grabs as the champion Cole Ratty Daddy Radrick defends it against Colby Carino. And this was another one of these matches where, hey, we're testing you out, Cole. We're trusting you to put on a great main event, but we're also testing you here to see how you do in this main event as Extreme Champion. And I think they picked the perfect opponent as a veteran to kind of, if Cole does seem to struggle, which I didn't see it at all anyway, but if he does seem to struggle in his first, I don't know if this is a first main event. Maybe actually I think he did main event against Alex Colon. But I love how there's easing him in with veterans to do these main events where when it becomes time for him to kind of control and dictate the match as the veteran against a maybe young and uppercomer like how he is right now. Colby Carino was perfect. And we don't see deathmatch Colby Carino a lot, but he definitely went all in on this match. And I love seeing Colby Carino when he's gets thrown into these deathmatch situations, especially against younger talent, because you could see how what I saw from Colby was, hey, I see a lot of myself in you, Cole Radrick here. You have a lot of promise. You have a lot of potential. You like to go. You're like a hybrid wrestler like me, where I don't do a lot of death matches, but when I do, I give 110%. And I was excited going into this match, and this match did not disappoint. I kind of popped a lot during this main event because there was a little, like, obviously not slower, but didn't get a lot of, as you said, I was at this moment, I was feeling, oh, I want blood. I want blood. I want blood. I want the death match here. But it being an extreme title, I was like, I don't know. But I was like, no, once I saw Colby come out, I was like, yeah, Colby's going in. This is going to get crazy. What were your thoughts on the GCW Extreme title match?
Ooh, okay. let me do that. I should have done it before I stopped muting. But okay, so first of all, Karina and Cole got great receptions right off the bat. Ratty Daddy chants. You can see from the beginning there are light tubes all over the ring. It's damn near lining the ring. So I really do like the chants here that the belt's really being defended more to outsiders from GCW. It's not the regulars, and I really do like here also that Cole's being given the chance to swim.
Yep.
One thing that we can say for sure is that Cole has been given one chance for sure. This has been an excellent push, and this is an excellent title run so far. I really hope that he grabs this by the balls and really does kind of an anyone, anywhere, anytime situation. I said this, you could damn near say this with anybody, but right now he's defending this against most anyone who comes in. The only downside to that, let's just say for somebody like me, would be what's the chances of someone we've only seen once in a year and a half, 2 years come in and actually take our title and run away? It's going to be, the chances are so rare. So unless it's somebody that we're going to keep around and just this is their first visit out of 8, it would be a shocker. So I could see somebody debuting and shocking the shit out of us and getting heat by beating the shit out of our Ratty. So I'm just,
No, and that goes along with Alex Colon when he went up against Rena. Like, I know that, hey, Rena's probably going back to Japan. Like, I was shocked to see Rena win because of that, as you said, because, hey, like, they're going to win the belt and then what? Now we're without our champion. But I know that GCW is going to Japan here soon, where somebody could get the belt back and bring it back home when GCW comes home. But as you said, though, sometimes that does affect it. Like, oh, they're going against this person. Like, I already know Cole's going to win, but I think when a surprise does happen, as you said, I think that pop's going to be big, and it like means, hey, maybe this person's going to be in GCW more. So I like having that kind of feeling where I don't know who's going to win, but when it does happen, if it is an outsider, like want to be interested of, how's that going to fit into the GCW's more immediate plans?
Dude, this thing was a brawl, and it was mostly like an outside brawl. So it ended up being a lot better than I expected. I didn't know with Colby Carino, because he's more of a veteran, that it was maybe going to stay inside the ring. Because no bullshit, he's also a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I could have seen very much so a wrestling match between these two, because Cole's no slouch on wrestling either. He can easily hold his own there. So I really didn't know what to expect in that case. But yeah, this went to an outside brawl. Here we go with my little deathmatch rundown. So really, when it really started to hit the fan was around minute 3. That's when tables came out. Minute 4, Cole did a dive into Colby sitting on a chair, which was just fantastic. Minute 5, Cole gets light tubes launched at his head. Cole gets sliced on the ropes. He did one of those things where he was going around getting sliced on the ropes. Minute 6, double broken tube shoved into his head. It looked like devil horns. It's not the first time, nor I believe the last time we'll see Cole do the little devil horn on the head thing. I kind of like it. Minute 7, Cole is bleeding well, is what I wrote down here. He's taking a lot of glass damage. There is still, by minute 9, no Carino blood whatsoever. At this point, basically, Carino's just dealing damage to our champion, which I love. I know the purpose for that. It makes him look strong, and I love it. Minute 10, Cole is busting tubes on himself. Ratty Daddy chants break out. So at this point, everybody's having a good old time. Minute 11 comes up. We have Colby body slammed onto a set of chairs. GCW chants again. Fans are obviously thankful that GCW is in North Carolina. They're really seeing what I'm not putting it right, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of stumbling on it, but what's going on here is it just seems they're very thankful that they're here. It's the first time. If they love them enough, they're coming back. And it's nice to hear a crowd who hasn't seen him 10 times a year.
Yeah. And,
you know, I mean, doesn't take it for granted.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody does. I'm just saying that if you see someone 10 times a year, it's that how can I miss you if you're never gone kind of thing.
And that's what I was. That's what I was telling you when this was going on, when I was kind of like telling you my thoughts on this match when we talked about it off camera, obviously. But I was saying like this was kind of like a tester event where, hey, let's not give them our full roster, our biggest squans. We want to kind of see how we do since it's our debut here. We want to kind of test the waters out where we're not going to bring our top talent. We're going to bring our talent, and like what they had showed here was awesome. It wasn't like the top of the top, but it was pretty much a lot of the big names. But it was also a test where you guys are receptive. We will come back and do this again, and you will get the bigger stars. Where I think that's smarter than financially of not going head on into a territory or a city or a state where they don't know kind of what kind of reaction they're going to get, the ticket sales, the fans watching. Because as we talked about when we were watching the ones in Nashville for the Ric Flair, it's like depends on what fans show up of. Are they expecting a GCW show? Or are they expecting a more normal wrestling show? And as I think that as you mentioned, I think they mentioned on commentary too, you felt I think it's North Carolina. I keep forgetting Charlotte. It's Charlotte, right? Is that where it was? Mm-hmm. Like you could tell that crowd.
It's in Concord, North Carolina. It's like a little area outside of Charlotte.
Okay. Yeah. So you can
like
tell
Henderson, Nevada to Las Vegas. You know, it's kind of it's an outside. Yeah.
Close enough. But as you said, and as commentary, I think commentary said as well, you could tell once the light tubes came out, once they got the death match, you could tell, hey, this is what we came to see. This is what we want GCW to be. Where I think next time, as you said, when they go back there the next time, they will be rewarded for this performance from the fans being as participating as much as they were.
This was satisfying to me because I used to watch his dad, Steve Carino, in ECW, in TNA, on the Indies. Much love to Steve.
Yes.
He's a fucking awesome wrestler. I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to make sure I said it because he put in so much work, and I'm sure collectively I've seen 10, 15, 20, 25 hours of what he's put on, and I'm sure each and every one of those minutes were painful. So I just wanted to say, Steve Carino, yeah, your boy's out there. Fuck yeah. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so minute 12. Carino hit a top rope slam onto a chair, onto Cole. The other chair basically kind of got put off to the side there, got destroyed by an air raid crash. There was primarily a back and forth brawl towards the end of this match. Even damage on both men. There was a lot of catch up. So Carino went from very little to a lot of blood, equal to Ratty quite soon. Minute 14, Carino did a top rope pile driver. He top rope pile drive Cole through a table. Minute 15, Cole getting lots of tubes broken on him. There were light tubes broken absolutely everywhere. Again, I really thought this was a good match overall. I thought it was a very solid main event. I felt like Cole went out and did, as a younger champion, exactly what he was supposed to do. I felt he shined as he was supposed to shine. I felt that kudos to Brett for giving a young champion like Cole a chance to come out there in the main event and really do this.
Yep.
It says a lot about him, and it says a lot about Brett to go out there and do that with him. Nick Gage explains a second layer of skin called the meat of the head. I'm not Mr. Frickin' hospital medical man, but it was really funny to hear him talk about the second layer of skin. Yeah. So I know that's a little out there too, but it was in my notes and it was so stupid it was worth saying once. So I only say it because you're going to hear it probably in the next show too, because Gage sticks to his story and talks about the second layer of the meat in the head in our next show.
Yep.
That we deal with. So
and that's why I love Nick Gage on commentary, because he just goes. He doesn't. There's no filter. He just fuck that ref up, stab him, kill him, stab him in his throat. Don't hold back, kill him. And then like how he tries to describe some stuff that's outside of his knowledge, but he tries to explain it to other people in his words. Like sometimes it connects with me. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because I'm a simpleton too with some of that stuff. So I love just Nick Gage on commentary, because you never know what you're going to expect. And this match was awesome. Like those two styles and these two competitors was fantastic. And as you said, Cole Radrick definitely stepped up. Colby stepped up as well, made Cole look like $1 million. I loved how in one spot during this match, Cole attacks a body part. Like, when was the last time you seen in a death match like someone actually attack a body part? Like he hit Colby in the back of the leg with the light tubes, and then started like attacking his leg with the chair with the stomps. And like I never seen them in a death. I think that might have been the first time I've seen, other than that, hey, there's a big injury or something, then yeah, you're gonna attack it. But there was like nothing going on. Just Cole just decided to attack a body part and stick to it for a little bit, which was totally different for me in a death match. But that's the kind of shit I love seeing. I love seeing not just death matches and light tubes back and forth. I like seeing the wrestling of the death match with it.
Well, so I was thinking that it seems like Nick Gage is going to be the commentary voice of our death matches, which I'm really hoping that stays.
Same.
And I'm really hoping that KG then would be the straight man. I'm really hoping it kind of goes like that, because KG is able to take something like we said and turn shit into an awesome sandwich. So I don't know, but yeah, Gage is very blunt and just kick his fucking ass. But KG is smart enough to be able to say it in a way that is more eloquent. And so I can see that working very well together.
Yes, and I would actually like the third person with Dave Prazak, because I love some of these stuff, like him sometimes just will scream like, ah, like, oh my God, like, yeah, and then I love this, dangerous. Like, I love when he does that, because like, I don't know, like those little simple things that get me popping as a fan on commentary. And as you said, like Nick Gage kills it, given the analysis on the deathmatch part. KG will add, as you said, as the simple man, add that to it. And then Dave Prazak will add the old school kind of like, what am I watching here? I'm more old school. They just did what with the light tube? Dangerous! I love it. I love those three commentating. And I agree. I hope we just continue to see Nick Gage do more deathmatch commentary. And we roll right into the ending of this match here. Oh, one spot too. Like, I think that's turning into Cole's spot. The upside down chairs. Like, I think that's definitely turning into one of his spots here.
Now, by the time we're talking here, this would be the second time or the third time we've seen that chair.
Yep.
That chair. For two for sure. Two for sure. Possibly three. You know, if I was watching it late one night, maybe, you know, if there's a third I can remember. But yeah, Cole still comes out with the win here, man. Another successful title defense for Cole.
Yes. And
I can't complain.
yeah, I'm impressed and loving his Extreme title run, because we've seen more death matches or more extreme style matches, but he has also done it in a scramble match and stuff like that. So he's doing to the extreme title, which I know AJ Gray did, and I think AJ Gray, just because I didn't see him for like a month and a half. Maybe that's where I forgot he was kind of doing these same things, and maybe I came off sounding like AJ Gray's extreme title run wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I just think that time that he took off because of the injury or whatever else, that time that the extreme belt wasn't being defended. If you go back and listen to our podcast, that's when I was being extremely kind of critical of the extreme title, maybe being a scramble title and all that stuff. But I think what they're doing, I do take back everything I said of getting rid of the extreme belt. Keep it. They are doing exactly what I do want them doing. Doesn't have to be
using it.
Yes, it doesn't have to be an scramble match every time, like how Veda Scott said. It doesn't always have to be a death match like how this was. It could be, hey, let's add a doors, chairs. Let's get a little crazy with some other fuckery that's not death match style, but adds to the extreme element of the name of the title itself. So Cole Radrick is killing it, and I hope this title run keeps on going. And I keep hoping he gets all these different style of opponents to challenge him for that belt, whether it be in GCW or outside of GCW, as you said. I'm loving the title reign, and Cole is stepping up his game, and might be the year where this 2022 might be the year of the Ratty Daddy. And that will lead us right into our ending memorable moments of the night. And John, I'll let you go ahead and start off with your memorable moments, because as you know, I always have a couple, but I don't want to say the same thing you do. So I'll let you start first.
Okay. So right off the bat, the one thing that really stuck with me was the start of the show, the intro. It was that classic 90s style, old fashioned indie kind of, hey, motherfucker, I'm here, get ready, that they cut, and it's on to the, there were no matches under 10 minutes. I absolutely love that. I love breathing time with matches. George F. and South, of course. I'll leave that comment to the end. I have a really good one, and I want to leave it to the end. I really like that a GCW show with tables happened. It was really cool to see that somehow it must have been that the tables, I don't know, maybe they had some laying around, but it was nice to see those instead of those doors. I'm also curious to hear maybe what veterans would say if they prefer a door, or if they'd rather have a table to go through. That's always a curiosity. But there were no letdown matches. Each match really did have something entertaining in it. If I had to, I could look back at any time and go, oh yeah, that one had that one had this. An injured performance by Joe Lando was still impressive, by the way. So if he can come back anytime soon, which right now he's been back over and over, I want to see that keep going on. I know it was a little earlier in the show, but Axton, he keeps showing up and he keeps showing up. I hope they keep giving him work, because Axton's really a kick-ass performer. And the last thing I wanted to say here was that I didn't really expect much from all these local names at all. I looked at the card, I went, okay, I don't know him. Okay, I don't know him. I don't know him, and I don't know. Okay, all right. Okay, normally I'm used to seeing Masha versus Kevin Blackwood, and then I'm seeing Effie versus Effie and Jimmy Lloyd versus SGC. And I'm seeing some of these names that I'm not used to seeing. So I sit down, I go to watch this, and I was 100% surprised. Every single one of these performers showed up. It just really made me feel good to know that the South is still alive in wrestling. I mean, we're talking the local guys are kicking ass down there. Quite a few of them I'd actually like to see in GCW again. And there were quite a few of them who really had solid gimmicks. Like, they knew who they were, and that's who they were going to be. And yeah, very few would I not want to see again step through. Yep. Solid, man.
That goes pretty much right there was my notes. I took okay. It's awesome, because I'm the same way. Like, my big takeaway from this night, as we were talking about this, was it like the all-star lineup as GCW just did at Homecoming. Like, they rested some of their bigger names, or the bigger names were not on the card. They still had the SGC, the Effie, the Alley Catches, the Cole Radricks, but I loved every single match. Every match had someone that wasn't a GCW regular. Every match was someone new. Love seeing them get that time, get that spotlight, get that opportunity and chance to maybe next time they're in this around the area, not even has to be in North Carolina or wherever, but even if it's in that general area, they might call these talents to come down and do another match. And I loved it. Like as you said, you hit it spot on. Same thing in my notes. Everyone did not disappoint. I would like to see more Diego Hill, more Bojack, or ugly ducklings. I want to see the ugly ducklings. After that match, I really went to that'd be an awesome showcase that match for Nick Wayne and Jordan. I loved all that talent and loved seeing the new one, and I loved how they incorporated it into almost the entire night where
yes, it was complimentary.
Yep. Exactly. And like the matchups, all these matchups made sense. Every single match that was put together made sense. And I think that in my mind made the matches and the card and the whole event way better because there was a lot of complementary styles, even with the younger guys working with more veteran GCW wrestlers, but their talents meshed well together, and I love seeing that. And really, I only had two memorable moments was all the new talent and Cole Radrick stepping up and not earning, but like earning the fans' respect and maybe earning the fans' trust and possibly turning this Extreme Championship into an ultra violent title run, main eventing shows, or maybe next year down the line of becoming the GCW World Title. I know it's a long way away, and like he has a lot more growing to do, but I think if he keeps on progressing as much as he has, especially this year, and the fans keep on taking and receiving him and being receptive to him as they have been, I think. As in right now, the GCW, like I think they got their next star that they're building towards, and I want to see. I know we kind of saw it at TOS, and I want to see it turn into something more because I thought heading into TOS, this was my match of that whole tournament I wanted to see in a lot of people's eyes was when Drew Parker comes back. I want to see Drew and Cole have like a series of 3 or 4 matches whenever Drew's back in the States for his little excursion here again, or maybe if he comes here full time, I don't know. But I want to see Cole and Drew Parker just continue what they did at TOS and keep on whatever title they're chasing for or challenging back and forth. I think that's going to elevate that whole division to another level because I think those two are kind of like the young pillars of the ultra violent or the death matches. I think that's where they could build upon. As right now, we still got the leaders of Cole, Alex Colon, John Wayne Murdoch, Rena. I think the second tier group is fastly climbing up into that top tier group where we could have a lot more crazier matchups and crazy matches in the deathmatch scene and in GCW. And I'm excited to see Cole's ascension towards that final destination. And that will be it for GCW Sanctified. Fun show. Very good. It was a very good lead up to and kind of a good, not teaser, but kind of what to expect the next night when they were in Atlanta at Center Stage. As before, like I don't want to get into it, but we saw a lot of new talent there as well. And a lot of death matches, a lot of crazy spots. And GCW is killing it, and I think they're on their way to building towards a pretty great Art of War games coming up here soon. And they just keep on rolling. Like they don't take the days off. They got big show, and love seeing what GCW has been doing lately. Do you have anything else to add for GCW Sanctified here, John, before we send them off?
No, man. I'm hoping anybody who's listening just gets ready because here fairly soon we're going to go ahead and pump out another beautiful show to them. This was really a fun one and stupid and unexpected. Yep. And it was really the flavor, that South flavor made it a unique show. This show you 100% wouldn't have seen in LA.
Yeah.
So really, I just wanted to say that and just say again, thank you so much to everybody who listens. This is so awesome to do, man.
Yes, this has been fun. It's been crazy. I think before we started recording this, I posted online. We did hit 300 listens too. So everyone that is out there listening, thank you. I see it. We see it. We appreciate it. It brings a smile to our face as the night I saw the 300 views. I was having a very rough day. I've had a rough couple of weeks at the home with the house stuff breaking down, but that night especially was very rough. And seeing that we hit 300, which is kind of like one of my short-term goals, and how fast we hit 300 listens, that definitely brought a smile to my face. Maybe put me in a way better place and happier place than what I was going into, not knowing that piece of information. So I just want to say, everyone out there that is listening, however they're listening to it, like we appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. And
Yeah.
We're going to keep on doing this here. We're going to keep on doing this for you guys out there, for us, for you guys that are fans, just like how we are. We're glad you're enjoying the content and listening. And based off of where I'm seeing the locations of where the people are listening, it's spreading. The word is spreading out there. So please continue to spread out there that we are another content for GCW. We're not with GCW. We are our own little thing. We have nothing to do with GCW, but we're just trying to help expand other wrestling fans into learning and finding out more and enjoying GCW product as we have done. On behalf of myself and Mr. John J. Wolf, that will be the end of GCW Sanctified, and that will be the end of GCW Plant Podcast episode 15. Keep an eye out for shortly here in the next couple days, GCW Plant Podcast episode 16, where we cover GCW's return to center stage as GCW had hoped to die in Atlanta, Georgia. Once again, on behalf of myself, Mr. John J. Wolf, you could always find all of our social media information on the bottom of wherever you're finding this podcast. And as we always say, thank you guys all for listening, and long live GCW. We're gonna get it. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.